Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, your host. Today is Sunday, July 26th, 9:11 p.m. of all times to start. Never forget, we're here to draft some best ball teams. It's late night. It's Sunday. Let's go. Most of the cheap contests have filled. The Fast Puppy, the Pug, earlier today. We're going to hop into a BBM. And no countdown. No countdown. One spot. Thank God. Oh, well, if you want it, come get it. But only one of you sickos in this fucking pod. Let's go. What's good, chat? How we doing? Fimpst, nice to see you, brother. A-Rod's in the house. Yo, yo. Blaze it. Let's go, Danimal. Happy to see you. Young Moolah in the house. GAB for life. What up, Blunt? Late night hype. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Excited. I saw the Odyssey early today. I gotta tell you, you ought to see it. It's pretty fucking good. I might even go back and see it again. I was like legitimately captivated the entire time. I didn't see it in IMAX. The only tickets I could get for IMAX were like front row. I don't want to deal with that shit. Fucking no. I got back row in the Dolby Theater, so full surround sound, like legit volume. I had a good time. I was very much captivated. I would highly recommend y'all see The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan, don't disappoint. There were some casting cameos, which I don't know if needed to be there, but you know. Some of the casting was also like extremely deliberate. Like, oh, it's a movie where Matt Damon's trying to come home. Yeah, that let's cast him. There was a lot of nuanced casting choices. Maybe not nuanced, but kind of obvious. Anyways, highly recommend. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Yo, what's up, Hartman? Thanks for popping it. Tomorrow we're gonna be live on Hartman's channel. He's going live. I will be a guest. And that's going to be pretty lit. We are here. We're in BBM. You know what? I'm going to be open to surprises. We'll go JSN, and maybe we get a nice fall. Possibly in the second round. Possibly in another round. But I'm going to keep it simple. I do think JSN deserves to be a first-round pick. That I do believe. And in terms of like target share, first read type of looks, who knows? Maybe Sam Darnold looks more like he did in Minnesota than he did last season. Maybe that's the case. Losing Clint Kubiak is a slight issue, but I could also still envision him be more productive than Puka, more productive than Chase. There's a world where he is receiver one. I don't think it's that likely. I rarely take him at pick 5 in terms of how many times I have pick 5. I'm not overweight JSN by any stretch. When I usually take him, it's when he falls to pick 6 or 7. But $2 million at stake, things might get different over the course of the draft. And one thing I've kind of noticed in BBM specifically, my receivers sometimes don't feel the best. I feel like sometimes I get left behind at wideout just a little bit more often in BBM than I do in other formats. Now, I have no idea if that is strictly the case in BBM, but I have noticed receiver gets a little bit more punched up. Not by much, but just a little bit, enough to feel the pressure. And this is a type of contest I want 3 quarterbacks as well. But Derrick Henry makes it back. Perfect. I almost got Omarion Hampton. That would have been fucking sick. But Bowers goes ahead of Henry, and I love Derrick Henry's Week 17 matchup. You're telling me I have Derrick Henry in BBM 7? Last year in BBM 6, he dropped 44 points. I do kind of think some players like to know that they're the guy you needed to win the full contest. I do kind of think that Week 17 means a little something to the NFL players. Not that it's everything. Of course, I don't think they give that much care to our little game. But I do think there is a little nugget of bragging rights where, like, yo, the BBM winner, I was on their team and they wouldn't have won without me. Like Derrick Henry, I don't think that matters that much to him, but I think it is something where if it mattered last year, you know, to him, it may matter again. All right, we're back on the clock. Love that I got oh, I don't take him very often, but I'm not passing on this. Hell yeah. Open to surprises. We go JSN round 1. Had I taken running back there, I still wouldn't have passed on Henry. And then I would have started triple running back. And like I was saying, I've noticed I've gotten a little bit behind at wide receiver, specifically in this contest. It's a little bit more desired compared to what my typical plan is. So I got the anchor wideout through 3 rounds. We got Jeremiah Love. His playoff schedule's fantastic. And then we also have Derrick Henry. So the chat froze on me, but it's all coming together now. But Chad, yeah, your comment, gotta love the 5th pick. You know what? At some point, I've mixed up my strategy at pick 5 so often. Now, for the sake of uniqueness, my exposures to JSN, just a regular pick 5 team, are kind of low. So if anything, yeah, I'm actually liking how this worked out. Teams 3 and 4 went triple receiver and left me Jeremiah Love. Wow. Oh shit. Josh Jacobs at 26? What are we drafting in May? That's interesting. I mean, if anything, we're drafting in fucking like March to be taking Jacobs there. Holy shit. That's wild. Well, today, I'm very happy to take Jeremiah Love at 29. But Ryan Sports, bing, bang, bada, boom. Let's draft a winner. So far, we're in contention. Easy to be in contention in 3 rounds. But so far, I'm not upset with anything. I don't feel behind the 8 ball in any regard. But Neighbors does go 31 in this. That's notable. That is a notable pick there. I've seen him at the end of the 3rd lately, but not as much in the middle. So not a surprise. He's moving up quickly. Brady started to draft with Jefferson and Lamb last week and was ecstatic and it got refunded. Bummer. Really? I mean, if Travis makes it. Wow. This feels also fairly notable. I like Travis. I'll do it. This has to be an uncommon start. Honestly, the anchor whiteout with triple running back feels pretty sweet. Okay. Anthony, what's up, homie? How we doing? Our Spurs fan has entered the chat. What did I do there? Yeah, oh. I think I know what you're referencing. I think I know. But Gibless, welcome. New to the channel. Appreciate you for subscribing. Thank you for joining us. Sorry I'm slow on the chat. Sometimes I'm just really behind, and then sometimes I also get frozen out of the updates. So thank you for subscribing. Hopefully this team keeps you here. I'm pretty happy with it, and it's a good opportunity to be passing on running back here. Love that Adams is still there. Fuck yeah. My boy, Devontae Adams. So far, this has been an extremely easy team to draft. There haven't been any clicks where I'm really making a bold decision here. It's been top of ADP every single time. I've been ecstatic to have every single fall so far. Structurally, I couldn't be more excited about this team because the problem I have with the Jeremiah Love selection, it doesn't feel like a good advance piece. I'm going to quote our boy Jiri Football. Shout out Jiri. He likes drafting Jeremiah Love, but he understands the risk of not advancing with a pick like that. So he likes to build running back rooms that can support him and help him get there, especially if we got Carson Beck under center. That team's going to be a little excited. I also think their defense is a little underrated. It's not amazing, but I do think it's a little underrated, not going to lie. So it could actually lead to them winning more games than people think. It's possible their offense is better than I expect. So, especially at 29, I'm happy with that. But the fall on Travis needs to be studied. I get it. Kamara's got a big reputation, but like, really? They gave him a big contract. He's the 11th highest paid running back, which maybe isn't like super elite, but I think it means something. And he is capable of dropping 30. Plus, Kamara keeps getting hurt late in the season. He hasn't shown up year over year as of late. Maybe if they can actually make the playoffs, it'll be different. But I don't trust Kamara to stay healthy at all. But what's up? What's up, Keith? Indeed, we are. Yeah, I didn't give a countdown to this BBM, but we definitely are drafting at least 2, if not 3, this evening. But thank you for joining us. Appreciate it, Keith. W for Mega, cheers to you as well. Cheers, dog. But yeah, what's up, Young Moolah? If anyone hasn't checked out GAB for Life, also another friend of the channel. He's had me on as a guest. He's also been a guest here on this channel. And he is a Raider fan, old divisional rivalry. But that's not going to stop us from respecting some good takes and fun live streams. Shout out Young Moolah. Give him a follow over there. But Christian Ramos just got CMC Genti on DK. Good luck. That's pretty sweet. But gotcha, Keith. Almost. I don't have a problem with Tyson. I also have Travis on this team, so this is shaping up to be a nice Tyler Shuck double. Where's Olave? He's on that side of the board. That might be frustrating. He's possibly getting sniped at pick 111 because I'm not going to take Tyler Shuck at 101 probably. I could, but I think it's unnecessary. I think I'd rather risk Shuck at 125, honestly, than take him at 101. I might even pass at 116, depending on my options. But so far the team's coming together. Nothing wrong with that. But Quincy Jones, is there Jacobs news? As far as I know, there is not. I can't say I've been locked into the news today. But as far as I'm concerned, no. Not enough for him to rise that quickly. Pick 26 is pretty wild. But Henry only did it because he's a big Sam Sherman fan. Yeah, if anything, I hope Justin Herbert is a big fan of your boy. Justin Herbert, if you're watching, please deliver me to glory. We are in BBM, so I'm not going to draft Quentin Johnston here. I think in BBM it's really less appealing. I'll go Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce has gone even higher than this. I'm willing to take him just three spots above ADP. And even if he misses 2 games, I still love his upside any given week. So I'm happy to take him. I do not expect him there at 92. And if anything, the guys I would have pulled up are going in the 8th round and would have been the same combination in theory if he made it back. Like honestly, I may have taken Godwin there instead of Pierce. He's on the list of names I'm willing to pull up if I don't like my options in round 7. But Alec Pierce there, I think over Quentin Johnston, he hasn't fallen far enough consistently for me to know he's coming back. And QJ used to go in the 100s. QJ had like a closing ADP in pre-draft, which is his opening ADP in BBM, at like 110. Quentin Johnston took a minute to move up the board to pick 70. So I'm not dying to take him at 77. There's a lot of teams in BBM already drafted who have QJ not only in the 8th or 9th round, but also stacked up with Justin Herbert. I'm not really dying to take QJ in BBM. In other contests, if a contest opened tomorrow, I'd be fine taking Quentin Johnston there. I think he's an okay pick. But in BBM specifically, it's not as wise. But yeah, Chad, I agree. Excellent start so far. Even the Tyson fall. Like, honestly, up until this Alec Pierce selection, I haven't been tested on my choices. It's been very, very easy. Yeah. You ought to see it, A-Rod. You ought to see it. Ought to see these nuts. You walked into that one. I gotcha. Okay. We're not going to go double downs, double Indy here, though. If anything, I kind of want to take Laporta, but I also kind of want to take Ricky Pearsall as well. I really trust Ricky Pearsall. I also like Pittman, but I think the upside is ultimately a little bit higher with Ricky Pearsall. And the odds of him only scoring zero touchdowns. Last year he scored zero touchdowns. Zero touchdowns. There's no way that happens again. Meanwhile, he had 4 games, at least 80 plus yards. He was really only healthy in 5 weeks last season. So the games I believe you should count for Ricky Pearsall when he was really active and like there's no excuses for what to expect from him. He was very productive. The yards were absolutely there, whether it was Purdy or Mac Jones. He was getting it done. So it's just a matter of health. I'm willing to believe in Ricky Pearsall, but I've seen people push Stafford and it works. I think I'm going to go Jackson Dart first. He doesn't need to be stacked up with anyone, and I do really like him, but you know what? Nah, I'm just going to stick with the stack. I'm going to go Stafford. I like his matchup against the Bucks in the final week. I think that's pretty sweet, and Adams and him have a really elite connection. If you look at the week where Puka was out, Adams fucking crushed. Adams was 3 touchdowns by like halftime. That could happen again if Puka goes down. The contingent upside on Adams is pretty sweet. Stafford obviously would be better with Puka, but Stafford can also just put up an insane year. But who knows? Maybe coming off the MVP season, it's not going to happen. But I don't think I reached on anyone at receiver. I think I took them all. So far, this team has come together quite nicely. But yeah, we got Adams instead. Maybe the Stafford pick may not be the best, but I think that having the stack is totally worth it. But Ryan, what's my number one favorite overall stack, and what is your favorite stack at ADP value? It used to be Herbert and QJ. When QJ was round 8 or 9, taking Herbert and then getting Quentin Johnston to fall back to you was always a really, really good option. At the moment, I think it might be, for the ADP value, Rodgers and Pittman. I think Rodgers and Pittman saves a team. Rodgers and Freiermuth. The double stack Pittman-Freiermuth with Rodgers, that's the easiest one where I know, unless someone gets hurt, unless Rodgers tears his Achilles again, I have no fear with that at cost. If anything, they're all going a little bit too late. They're all really good values. So that one's pretty sweet. Otherwise, the A.J. Brown Drake May stack is really nice, but I actually take a lot more of Drake May and Hunter Henry. I think Hunter Henry stacked with Drake May could actually be the combo you need, because Pat Surtain is going to be locking up A.J. Brown as best he can. Here is an interesting question. Do I just take Tyler Shuck here? That's what my rankings say. ADP does not agree. I think I'm going to... I don't know if I can push it, though. I genuinely am not sure. I'd be pretty upset, honestly, if I didn't get him. So I don't think BBM is where I want to be fucking around. I got the double with Travis and Tyson. I always feel good drafting Juwan Johnson later. So his ADP was 123. I'm on the board at 125, but I didn't like how many teams around this turn had only one quarterback. All 3 of these teams about to pick only have one. And with Shuck off the board, that changes the equation. But I'd be pretty shocked if all 3 of them pass on Baker Mayfield. Maybe I misplayed that, but wow, okay. They're still there. I probably could have gotten Shuck here, but honestly, I don't really give a shit. Like, just having who I want is also really valuable. And Rachaad White makes it back. Okay. I would have probably just taken Rachaad White instead of Tyler Shuck. So, you know what? Who knows what would have happened? Maybe someone is a huge Juwan Johnson fan, and who knows? But the Mahomes drafter wasn't interested. Unstacked, I guess, makes sense. The Daniels drafter wasn't interested. They got a good quarterback, so that's fine. The Burrow Herbert drafter I didn't expect, but the Caleb Williams drafter also didn't even want Baker Mayfield, but they all passed on Rashad. That's That's pretty strange. Th- This is a weird one, but I'm here for it. Loving that I just stuck with ADP the whole way through. Like other than Pierce. Oh, the Pierce and Pearsall. Nice. Nice alliteration there. The double Pierce. All of them. Uh, this team is this team feels pretty sweet. We'll probably get a nice value at tight end as well in the next round. But Garrett Wilson, last pick of the fourth. Can't say I've seen that before. Really? Damn. Yeah, he did fall to 48. That's pretty wild. This is an interesting lobby. This is very. I'm glad I joined it. I don't recognize anyone in here. If you are in here, let me know, but I don't think anyone watching is actually in this lobby. Yeah, ETN, I think it will be a dog. I think this late, it's such an auto click. Achan over James Cook and Taylor. Shit was wild in this one, but who could be angry at the Raiders? I mean, they haven't won anything in such a long time. You can't really like hate on them too much. But what's odd about them as a Los Angeles native, there's a lot of Raider fans here, and it's just kind of strange. Like they did operate here for a while, so like I guess if they grew up with it, there's the nostalgia and everything. But like, it was always strange to me the like volume of Raider fans in Los Angeles, given how they kind of just suck. They're really bad. Um, yeah, I like this team a lot too. I like this team quite a bit. Chad is rough being a Niners fan. Even my coach is in concussion protocol. Yeah, it's about time the injury bug hit not just the players in San Fran, but also the coach. Pretty interesting. But all right, the way we're building this one, I probably need some tight ends soon. And I'm probably just going to double tap that position. I really like Hunter Henry, so I'm going to take him over Oronde Gadsden. Gadsden, I think, could have much higher upside, but I have a lot of Oronde Gadsden when he was going much, much higher. I had a shit ton of Gadsden, a shit ton of Njoku, and, you know, the signing of Njoku kind of fucked all that up. So I've been slowly just like fading the Gadsden clicks. It's not that I'm not optimistic about it. I just have so much, and Gadsden probably just makes it back to me here anyways. So maybe I should have gone Darnold. That would have stacked up with JSN, but I don't really care as much on this team. I'm not that upset about. McMillan's still here. That's pretty interesting. But I think just having a tight end room I feel pretty sweet with is more valuable to me at this point in time in the draft. I'm going to go Juwan Johnson, lock up the stack. I do not believe he will make it back. I do not feel safe about that. So we got two guys going in the 13th round. I think one of the best pockets of the draft for drafting tight ends. Hunter Henry, Gadsden. Okonkwo used to go in the 13th round. Now he's clearly a 12th rounder, so he's gotten a little bit less exciting. But Brenton Strange, also a nice qualifier. Juwan Johnson, a perfect pick. I do think Dalton Schultz should also go in this range, so if you get him later, it's a really nice pick. Very good value. Otherwise, the only one I think kind of qualifies would be Freiermuth, and that's kind of a riskier bet, but it's so cheap. I also like taking him, but just getting three of those guys is pretty sweet. AJ Barner is also on that list. AJ Barner would also qualify, but maybe Elijah Arroyo does compete with him. I doubt it. I think he played so well, especially helping them win a Super Bowl. I think Barner has won the job. But Team 7 risking it for the biscuit. Let's take a look at Team 7. They went Achan and Hampton. Got fucking bailed out with Hampton. Neighbors, Scatabo. Yeah, definitely risking it. Bucky Irving, Marvin Harrison, Godwin, and Addison. Goes Jackson Dart. That's a pretty nice faller. Honestly, I wish I sniped him on Dart, because now the team looks pretty sweet. But likely at 114. That's one of the players someone passed on Rashad White for. Isaiah Likely at 114. You got Baker to make it back with Godwin. That's pretty nice. So the stacks did fall for him. Keaton Mitchell at 138, and then Deebo Samuel at 151. Not bad, but very much a bold strategy up top. But other than the Harrison pick, I don't really disagree with anything too much. The Bucky pick is a little bold, but with the Baker double, it looks even better. Honestly, Team 7's looking not too bad. Just a little bit crazy with the Achane pick. But in a vacuum, I think it's all fine. I'm not going to push back on it. I think I'm just going to take Jerry Jeudy. I've been really talking myself into it lately, and I kind of just want him. Yeah, I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver 6. I have so much Trey Harris. I've also started to think it might be really risky to have that much. He might kind of suck. He might be very injury dependent. He might just be Josh Palmer 2.0 and just max out at like 8 points. A random touchdown, but mostly only hits your lineup because like Ladd gets hurt. Like I think that might be the main reason why Trey Harris has value. Whereas Jeudy, I think, could still have some independent value early season, and then I really do think he probably gets traded. But I did take him half a round above ADP in a vacuum. That might not look ideal, but at this stage of the draft, I really don't give a shit. Hoffman says Chargers going 11-6. I think 12-5 is the bare minimum. I think 13-4 is absolutely in the cards. I really do. Obviously I do though. I'm just going to take Rodgers and have that third quarterback open to me. I don't have the stack for it, but I don't really give a shit. Maybe I should have taken Pittman instead of Pearsall to have this as an option, but I want 3 quarterbacks in BBM. And in a here's the structure of BBM. You have to finish top 2 in this pod, then 1 out of 14, 1 out of 12. I don't know if you need the stack as much in weeks 15 and 16 as you do in week 17. Obviously, the stack is always nice, and maybe Aaron Rodgers is irrelevant. But I also need to finish top 2. I also need to make it out of this pod. I need a consistent floor of points. And while I do feel like I have it already, I think there will be enough contributions out of Rodgers with like a 25+ point type game where it does feel just really valuable to help advance. But I kind of regret it already. Not going to lie. Unstacked Rodgers, kind of regret it. It's forcing me into a Jeremy Bernard or like Freiermuth pick when I kind of don't really want to go in that direction. And I think I kind of forgot that I have the Falcons quarterback as a potential stacking partner with Jeudy. The narrative I've convinced myself of regarding Jeudy being a good pick is not only is he being traded, but he's specifically being traded to the Atlanta Falcons, where he reunites with college quarterback Tua Tagovailoa and has the perfect path for volume because he'll be the number 2 receiver in an offense that is barren for those type of targets. Reliable targets in Atlanta would be there. Absolutely. Stefanski has already traded for him once. Definitely a player he's comfortable with, and I do think that's in the cards. So I probably should have gone another pick there. I genuinely probably should not have taken Rodgers in hindsight, but I couldn't help myself. From a floor standpoint, it's still pretty sweet, but I think at least there's a stacking partner potential that I've, maybe delusionally talked myself into, but I do think Tua could just have the same stat line as Rodgers if he stays healthy. But Rodgers more likely stays the starter all 17 weeks. But W for Mega. I'm a Cowboy fan. Pretty sure my owner has a permanent concussion. That's a theory I think should be tested. CTE, possibly. But interested why QJ doesn't hold the same value or opinion in BBM. Just because he's risen 35 picks. And so do I want a QJ team that competes with another QJ team 30 picks later? Not really. He's fine, but I think there's other options there that also make some sense. Definitely would have taken Terrence Ferguson had he been available, but since he's sniped, all right, we get to justify the Rodgers pick. At least there's that. At least I can stack up Fryermuth with Rodgers. I did mention that's one of my go-to stacks. So, you know what? Maybe Judy goes somewhere else. Maybe he doesn't get traded. Maybe he's still a good pick, but maybe he's just not a Falcon. And that didn't matter. It looks a little better there, at least with Juwan Johnson. But, yeah. What are we thinking about the Cardinals pass catchers now that Brissett resigned? Not like he's the best, but better than Minshew and Beck most likely. But Brissett won't start all year. Is this, like I said earlier, I didn't really pay attention to news today. I saw the Odyssey, spent time with my girlfriend, other things to do. Kind of want to go Jeremy Bernard a little bit, but maybe I should go running back. No, I'm gonna go Jeremy Bernard. Let's actually get this double stack with Rodgers. Actually, let's take him. Maybe DK Metcalf gets hurt or something. Yeah, I'm kind of locked into Pittsburgh. And shout out Meg from Fanspeak, making her proud. We're adding Rodgers. It's never the bad pick, but in BBM, similar to Quentin Johnston, I do think it's a little bit similar logic where it was once a cheaper pick, but it's different. It's different in the top 100 as opposed to the top 200 versus 175. I rank Rodgers at like 150, 155. Like, I think he's a 13th rounder. I think he should go where Bryce Young went in this draft. So I got a value on someone, and then we also double stacked them. So it's not that bad, but it's also, it's just going to help me advance. That's what it's going to do. The 3-5-7-3 is probably our strategy, but could I just go 3-4-8-3? Structurally, I'm not sure if I need a running back with this last pick, but I have Henry, Jeremiah Love, Travis Achan, Rashad White. We got one more pick. I think it should be a running back, but here's the thing. If this is accurate, W for Omega, if this is legit, then Beck will be starting a lot, and I think this team is just truly outright tanking. I don't think there's any silver lining with either quarterback. It's going to be kind of brutal. I think McBride maintains some volume, but those touchdowns are not going to hit like they did last year. No fucking chance. And then odds are they're more run heavy. Odds are they're leaning into their running backs quite a bit. But this is just a take based off of me trusting you, W for Omega. I believe you. So I'm going to take that as accurate. We'll see if all of that holds or if they bring in somebody else. I got no idea. But Chad, love to see the Pearsall love. I need to send you a jersey. Sure. If you want, you can hit me up. My email is niceandblunt@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, X. I'm also on there. But Omega, all in on Pearsall. It feels worth it. It feels like if it doesn't work out, it was just never meant to be, but I'm willing to trust the first round capital. I think I'm going to go James Conner here. I kind of believe he will play. I kind of think he is going to be shipped out. I don't see why not. Obviously, he's old, but at this point, it's just true, straight upside, and I don't think anybody else has any higher potential because the mystery box, why draft the handcuff to Jonathan Taylor, DJ Giddens, when we could have the mystery box of James Conner? Who knows? He could be the handcuff to Jonathan Taylor. You know, like we could have the Colts RB2 if Jonathan Taylor went down because they signed James Conner. We could have the Lions RB2 if Gibbs goes down and they sign James Conner. You know? It's like that scene from Family Guy. After sitting through our timeshare presentation, would you like the boat or the mystery box? Lois, we gotta think this over. No, let's just take the boat. The boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we wanted one of those? We'll take the box. James Conner it is. That I like the mystery box picks. Like the Jerry Jeudy mystery box, he could get traded. I believe he will get traded. He's the most likely player, in my opinion, to get traded. That piques my interest. I could be totally wrong, but at least with Jeudy at 164, it's a pretty meaningless pick, even if it doesn't hit. But Avi says, love your team. Henry can still score 15 touchdowns playing with Lamar. Yeah, the stat lines on Derrick Henry have not faded. If anything, they've been even more locked in the last two seasons. 1,600 yards with 16 touchdowns. The year before that, 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns. Looks like 16 touchdowns are just locked in for Derrick Henry this year. But, all right, quick recap of the team. A 3-5-7-3 with Stafford stacked up with Adams. Tyler Shuck double stacked with Travis Achan and Jordan Tyson. Aaron Rodgers double stacked as well with Pat Freiermuth and Jeremy Bernard. We got Derrick Henry at pick 20, Jeremiah Love at 29, Travis Etienne Jr. at 44, Rachaad White at 125, and then James Conner with our last pick in round 18. JSN, we took him at pick 5. I'm so happy I did. Maybe I like this team more with Amon-Ra, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with it as is. Adams with the stack, Tyson with the stack, Pierce at 77, Ricky Pearsall at 92, Jerry Jeudy 164, the one player I reached on. I got a conviction, gonna stick with it. And then Jeremy Bernard, 10 picks passed, stacked with Rodgers. Our tight end room has Hunter Henry, so we get the double Henry brothers, Hunter and Derek, GOATs. Juwan Johnson is stacked up, and then Pat Freiermuth also stacked up. I like this team a lot as well. But, yeah, Chad, Ricky Pearsall is super talented, all health, and like we just talked about, no one is safe. Yeah, there's also a world where Evans just misses like 10 games, and we have the clear outright wide receiver 1 in San Francisco. But Mahomes, Kelsey, it is pretty cheap, but then I have to be drafting Chiefs with enthusiasm. I do it enough. It's fine. That's not my favorite. I'm never going to give you a Mahomes, Kelsey combo over even just like Herbert and Hampton. I think I would much rather have, even though it's far more expensive. What's up, Wilson? Nice to see you. When I take a third quarterback, should I be stacking him? Not necessarily. I think if you can, it's nice. Not every third quarterback has good back stacks, though. But it'll never hurt you as long as it's a good pick. You know, there are some guys I don't really care for. You know, like if you take Stroud, I'll backstack him happily with Dalton Schultz. Am I stacking him happily with Jalen Noel? Not at all. You know, there's some players that you really don't need to force. You should still have like player takes on which ones you're targeting. But W for Omega agrees. Jeudy for sure gets traded in his opinion. It feels like the most obvious candidate. And there were so many trades earlier this season in the off, you know, around the beginning of the year, like kicked off with the Waddle trade. AJ Brown got traded. Michael Pittman got traded. So many players, like the list goes on and on. That is probably not going to change too much this season at the deadline. So Jeudy might play 6 weeks with Cleveland and get shipped. It'd be pretty fucking wild to see them hold on to him. It'd be so stupid if he plays the full year in Cleveland. Ryan, been taking Jack Betch with my last pick. Feels like in the Kubiak system, he could take on a role like Puka. There was 1 week last year where I actually did see something, a little flash from Betch where I was willing to maybe be a believer. But honestly, he's not a name I've clicked. I'll be honest with you. I haven't loved it. It was a completely different coaching staff. I assume the GM was also different. Like, didn't they have just complete turnover? I don't trust Betch or Dante Thornton, neither of the rookies from last season. So the sophomores, I don't trust either of them. If anything, I think they might be bringing someone in. But if they don't, then maybe you're right. Maybe Jack Betch might be worth mixing in. But Keith says Falcons are definitely adding someone. I thought for sure Jawan Jennings was heading there until he didn't. That would have been nice. Maybe Diggs will sign there. I think that's possible. Debo could want to go there too. But I think if they miss out on the free agents, there's 3 of them. Keenan's not going to go there. So there's really only 2. The obvious trade candidate would be Jerry Jeudy. I don't think they'd be as interested in Kayshon Boutte. Joe Mixon just drafted Tank. Is he telling us something? I've been telling you since February, brother. Maybe Joe Mixon just listening to the channel. If you don't know already, you need to be drafting Tank Bigsby. Tank Dell? That I don't know. That I'm not sure. I'm willing to click it on occasion, but Tank Dell is not my favorite click. But Ryan, I saw the Odyssey today as well. Fantastic movie. Yeah, really, really awesome. Like, legitimately makes you think about so many different things. Like, I might go see it again, honestly. But yeah, loved it, Jaws. I thought it was really sweet. I would recommend. Definitely worth my time. But he meant Brissett got a new contract, 1 year, $15.5 million. Okay, yeah, that's different than okay. Yeah. 1 year, 15.5. That sounds about right. Re-signed, not resigned. Okay. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, that makes sense. That's good news. That's good news. They're a little bit more committed to him. There's probably some incentives in there as well, so he's more likely to try and step up. But it's pretty obvious he's their best option. So it has to be the best case scenario. If you ask me, it's the best case scenario. But I still kind of believe it doesn't really move the needle. I believe he will get benched. I don't think they're playing out the entire season. It's only 1 year. That's all I need. Like, the 1 year is the most important factor. Not how much it is, just 1 year. Next year, bye-bye. They're going to draft someone for sure. So if he's as bad as last season, if he's 1-6, short rope, buddy. Short rope. He could be good enough to go like 3-9 before he gets dropped. I could also see that. But, like, they have a super late bye. There's no way he's the starter in the fantasy playoffs. And with Carson Beck, I have no fucking clue what that'll look like. But Ramos says, I don't know why, but the DK falls tonight are insane. Bowers at 303. The closer we get to August, the more casual people that have never even touched a mock draft board, never even gone on the website. The more of those people there are at this time of year. We're getting down to it where people are starting to not feel guilty for practicing fantasy football. Once the calendar hits August, it's like, okay, now if I really wanted to do this, no one's going to look at me like I'm taking crazy pills for drafting in May, drafting in April. If you have a YouTube channel, it's a little different. But now the volume of drafters will just really increase, and there's going to be a lot more different people who just haven't had the wherewithal of knowing the ADP this well to the point where they're not afraid to get weird. It's like, holy shit, why is this guy buried? I'll pull him up just because I like him. Brissett got a new deal. He's staying. I may have fudded that comment, but he clearly isn't starting all year, in my opinion, so I'm not sure what to make of it. It kind of doesn't move the needle at all. It's kind of just like confirmation of what we already had projected. I don't think anything should really change. But Best Ball Alec just closed a BBM with Connor as well. It feels like a valid pick. If you're going to push running back that far, it feels totally valid. And honestly, I kind of felt like I had a good enough one to just stop at 4. The Rashad White at 125 is just insane. It's crazy that right now BBM has some of the best values. That's pretty sweet. But at least the chat knew what you meant. Sorry. I'm If you didn't know, I'm on drugs. But this is a team that will drag Love to the playoffs. Kudos. Appreciate that, A-Rod. Yeah, I actually like this team quite a bit. Been hearing the Ravens want to sign a veteran receiver. That's pretty sweet. That's awesome. I've hoped it would be Deebo Samuel. It could be Keenan, though. Keenan could be chasing a ring. The Jesse Minter connection. Maybe not perfect, but still, that's something. And, you know, I think going back to Chicago, I could see Ben Johnson just not have any interest. I could see Keenan also not want to rehash that. And in terms of like a new venture, I think the Ravens offer a perfect landscape ripe for opportunity. A lot of targets there are up for grabs. No Isaiah Likely. The backup receivers don't mean shit. And it's not like Andrews is really like killing it at this point. So I think with the way the Ravens play, I think that'd be pretty interesting. Ravens sign Keenan Allen or Diggs or Debo. I think the formation would be pretty sweet to have Lamar with Derrick Henry on one side of him and then Debo Samuel on the other. That'd be a nightmare to fucking figure out. So good to hear that. I've been hoping that would be the case, honestly. That's why I haven't been overcommitting to any of those rookie Baltimore Ravens. I drafted a decent amount of Tez Walker in the pre-draft, a little bit of Bateman, but I think Bateman's kind of donezo, especially with the new regime at coaching. So if you told me they brought in a veteran, that wouldn't be a shocker at all. And honestly, it might help my bags, given I'm actually a little light on Zay Flowers. I have not chased him up the board like others have, but very good values on tailbacks. Yeah, my team got fucking loaded up right there. But Ravens need another pass catcher to keep all the rookies off the field for a while. That would make a lot of sense for them to bring someone in. But yo, what's up, Ruben? How we doing? The FF nerd in the house. Disbanded. Double dot. Ooh, that double vision. Nice. If anything, time for another hit. I'm so behind on the chat, but so let me speed through it. 250 milligram penalty. It's never a penalty, but good evening, Sladen. Nice to see you. Honestly, it should be available for a while. I would recommend. I would recommend. If you can get it in IMAX, I think it's probably worth it, if I had to tell you. But I got it in Dolby Surround. The audio really immerses you. I'd recommend not just the typical stream. Get it on as good of a screen as I think you can find. But what's wrong with Tank Dell? Did you see him do that drill? Yeah, but like, so what? Like, it's nice. You know, I'm not panicked about him, but I'm not like pushing him up the board 5 rounds. I'll wait to read the camp reports. It's also possible that Matthew Golden is dog shit. Like, as hyped as I am on Matthew Golden, as much as I click Golden, he didn't look too great last year. It's possible running routes looking good next to Matthew Golden is not that tough, but he did look solid enough. I already have like about 8-9%. I'd have a much higher investment in Tank Dell than Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel. I'll tell you that. Brissett has re-signed himself to being resigned to the Cardinals. That's a good way to put it. Why do people doubt Sean Tucker has a clear goal line role? Just because it's crowded, it's a 3-man backfield. I think that's the only reason. But it's not like he'll give you a dozen touchdowns. He might give you a game with like 3 possibly again, but I don't know if he's giving you 7+ touchdowns. Even really, is the goal line running back all season? That's a team that also loves to throw it when they're in the red zone. But what's fun is winning games might get Brissett pulled quicker than him losing it. That would be funny. That's actually kind of a valid point. But time to rip up. It is actually. It is. Indeed, it is. Do you ever take both Gadsden and Njoku? Very rarely, but it's mostly because I had so much of both before Njoku signed that it's kind of crazy to do. At this point, I'm kind of just hoping that like one of my Gadsden teams wins it all or one of my Njoku teams wins it all, but I have so many of both, I'm not really dying to pair them up. But Hoffman likes Njoku a lot more, not going to lie. He's a big boy and more upside. he's shown more consistency. I think the tight end position is one you usually want to trust the veterans a little bit more than the young guys. And I think he may have taken a pay cut because he thinks they can win a Super Bowl. I think, especially if Gadsden goes down, and Njoku would be instant top 10 play every week. So they're both valuable. I think if both are healthy, it's not as good. But I think Njoku has equally as high of an upside ceiling as Gadsden. But Dean Johnson, both have a low ceiling if both are healthy. A random touchdown for a Mike McDaniel tight end, excuse me, is not a problem. Like, I'm still going to bet on that ultimately. I'm still going to expect the Mike McDaniel tight end to have value. Will it be high floor? No, but I think the ceiling is actually pretty decent. I think one of them can have a big game with like 60 yards and a touchdown pretty consistently. Will it be like paired off one or the other? Yes. But like if you told me Gadsden had like 120 yards one week and 2 touchdowns, that's possible. And then Njoku could also have like a 60-yard touchdown as well on one play. So I think low ceiling is something I disagree with. But it's definitely capped. Not the same ceiling as if one of them wasn't there. But really feels like Gadsden and Njoku can both have spike weeks and hit your lineup more than a few times. I like both rarely together. Yeah, I'd rather just bet on one because it is crowded. It'll happen. It is totally going to happen. Razor thinks Diggs going to Washington. He will sign. He will absolutely play. So will Debo. So will Keenan. They're all playing, but that's my next pick in the slow puppy. Good luck, Anthony. Good luck. But I wanted to watch it when I was in Dallas this past week, but it was sold out the days I went there. Yeah, it's a tougher ticket to get sometimes, especially I'm sure in IMAX. It's not as fun to sit in the front row, but Matthew Golden's a very good route runner, has all the essentials. That video displays quite a bit of the skill set. I think the people that hate on him push it too far. Matthew Golden is one of my most exposed players, so I believe in him, but I think it's also like relevant that like he was dog shit last year. But I do like what I saw. It was encouraging. And it's worth drafting both of them. Absolutely. But very chatty chat this evening. It's been a minute since I've caught up. But they could both. It's why I worry about Ladd or QJ sometimes, especially Trey Harris. I think Trey Harris is the big loser if they both are good, if they both pay off, then I think I wouldn't expect Trey Harris to be that productive. But Gold Tempo, watched it on IMAX in Dallas. One of the reasons why it was sold out, I guess. But okay, I think we caught up. This team was pretty sweet. Honestly, I love this team a lot. Let me name it. Let me name it real fast. This was in BBM. I don't want to forget. Which number is this? I've drafted 22. This is my 23rd BB. Yo, 23 is my lucky number. Let's go. July 26th. It's an Aquarius full moon. My rising sign is Aquarius. Perfect. Perfect. Love it. We have the Rams, the Saints, and Pittsburgh on this one. Pretty sweet. That one was nice. The falls at running back were so clutch. Okay, we're not going to draft a second BBM, though. I don't have the deepest pockets to rip a ton of them on stream, especially when y'all are going to be in the lobby. I love that none of you guys were in that. I didn't have to do a single team review. It was fucking perfect. Okay, we're not doing a slow puppy. That's the only cheap contest other than the Scott Fishbowl. No offense to the charity one. I'm not as inclined to enter this evening. Not entering the Mastiff, that's for sure. Don't have enough funds at the moment to pull a big dog roulette like our boy Jiri does, but honestly, I'm a little tempted to try weekly winners for once, but like just once, maybe it's worth my time. But honestly, I think hopping in the eliminator makes the most sense. This contest is about to be 50% full. And now that we're about to hit August, it's going to start filling very quickly, especially with the slows still available on this one. I would expect like this to maybe close by like August 15th. I think 3 weeks is maybe even pushing it. I think this one could actually fill pretty quickly if they don't drop new contests very soon. Like if it's this or the Badge Bros or the Slow Puppy, and those are your cheapest options, I actually think the Eliminator could fill pretty soon. So I have done 12 of these. I think the strategy you want to implement is target early season games, early season production, because the first bye week is week 5. The amount of teams that are alive in week 5 are down to like, it's cut down to 50 by week 2. By week 3, it's 25% of the contest. By week 4, it's 12.5% of the contest. By week 5, the first bye weeks for the Carolina Panthers and the Kansas City Chiefs, you're only facing 6% of the contest. Like, take your chances. It's only 1 out of 2 every single week. So the buys are relevant, but I don't think you want to worry so much about early buys, more so repeating buys. I think I want to have maximum 2 players with the same bye week. I think that is the best move. And especially at different positions, I think that's the best case scenario. I only want like to be missing 1 player in my lineup any given week. I don't want a week that's heavily weighted. And especially if I'm going to do that, I'm going to actually stack up bye weeks in this. I don't want them early. That is where I can't have too many week 7 buys, my 4 favorite teams to mix and match with. That's very relevant. But it's also critical that you finish top 6 in this pod. That is something you cannot forget. You have to finish top 6 in this pod. Easier said than done. I think you should look at week 1 matchups and find some quarterbacks that you like, because they might come in handy if you get boxed out. So without further ado, I'm going to hop into the eliminator. We're joining in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 6 spots. Come on down. Come and get it. The chat froze on me again, so where was I? We get pick 5 again. Pick 5 again. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let me find where I was in the chat and get back to y'all, but here we go. As a Cowboys fan, Ryan Flournoy is a great value pick. I view him as more of a contingent pick, and he has risen a decent amount. I thought he was better when I wasn't taking him very much. I was kind of slow to catch up on ya boy, Ryan Flournoy. I think he's a fine pick, though. Especially if you have Dak. I think it's a great pick. Like it a lot. But, yo, what's up, fam? How we doing, Who Hames? I turned off the Google Translate in the live chat. I removed it in the settings, so you are no longer in family soup limbo. We got a true sup fam. An authentic comment for once. But, all right, I'm going to target Christian McCaffrey in this contest 100%. I'm a little worried about the matchup in Australia, not going to lie. Just a little bit. Actually, yeah, no, I'm still just going to take CMC. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. But week 1, we have to advance, and Christian McCaffrey is going to be a true elite play in the beginning. So, yeah, thought about it a little bit longer than maybe I needed to. But, yeah, CMC round 1. This is the contest for sure. I'd like to have him. Him and Saquon, I like a lot more in this contest than typical. But I have also just been coming around to taking McCaffrey as like a good pick. I think he's totally legit. Totally fine with him at 5. But let's shout out y'all in the chat. We got OM Godlike 101 pulled the 101. Space Cowboy pulled the 102. Danimal got pick 3. Go Horns right next to me at pick 4. I'm at the 5, but Keith, Super Beast, has pick 6. Beck at the 7. Anthony Spurs G at pick 8. Game Tight at the 9. Heavy hitters in this house. At this point, I've drafted enough times with heavy hitter. I think you're watching. Heavy hitter feels like a lurker at this point. Can't be that many coincidences. But Chad, Niners fan, pulled the 111, and then Wabi Seth has picked 12. He just took Cook and Saquon. Love the Saquon pick. His first 3 weeks are phenomenal. I think you can definitely get the production you expect out of Saquon in his first 3 games. The Commanders week 1, I believe the Titans week 2, and then I think the Bears is week 3. Bears were a pretty good run matchup last season, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it ranked in the top 10. Pretty sure that's his schedule, but I might be mistaking it. Let me find out. The Eagles start off home to Washington, at Tennessee, and at Chicago. Yep. I do remember it correctly. Not desperate to take Devon Achane. Honestly, I really wanted A.J. Brown, to be honest with you. Who do the Dolphins start up against? Let me take a look. Dolphins are at Las Vegas, so yeah, that's fine with me. Running back always gets coveted in this one. So CMC, Devon Achane, they have different bye weeks. That's all that really matters, in my opinion, more so than how early or late it is. I think relative to the other guys, I will more likely get out of this pod with these running backs week 1. CMC and Devon Achane. CMC is against the Rams, but it's the Niners-Rams matchup. That's going to be a higher scoring game, most likely. In Australia, anything can happen, but typically I would just trust Christian McCaffrey. Achane, though, against the Raiders, that's going to be pretty sweet. That should be a nice spot for him. But the Dolphins don't have many weapons. The volume will compensate for the lack of wins. I think Achane's fine, but his bye is pretty early. That's probably why he's going this late. He was like definitely the last guy in the rankings at running back in round 2. Probably because of the bye week. Him, Chase Brown, Ken Walker, that's clearly why they go later. Love makes it back. I don't think I really feel desperate for the third running back here, though. I think I'm willing to pass. I love Egbuka's week 1 matchup at Cincy. That's going to be a fucking barn burner. That's going to be lit. Week 2 versus Cleveland. We got the Baker Mayfield revenge spot against the Browns at home. That's going to be lit. Versus Minnesota week 3, that's not great, but it's not the end of the world. They don't have like an elite corner, but they have a really good secondary overall. They have a really good defense. Versus Green Bay week 4, though, that's pretty sweet. 3 home games after the Bengals matchup. Then they're at Dallas. That's awesome. Versus Pittsburgh, I actually feared Joey Porter Jr. a little bit. Not going to lie. But so far, the Egbuka schedule, as I'm listing it off, sounds pretty good through the first 5 weeks. At Cincy versus Cleveland versus Minnesota versus Green Bay at Dallas. That's pretty lit. Meanwhile, the Dolphins' schedule is at Las Vegas, at San Francisco versus the Chiefs. That's not good. Chiefs have a really good run defense, actually. At Minnesota, brutal. And then versus Cincinnati, excellent. Literally like the best you could imagine. So amazing, neutral, bad, great. And then bye week, so terrible. Then at the Jets, that's probably like their only win on the year. So the bye week's not ideal, but I think with CMC we'll get away with it. Space Cowboy got picked too. YOLO says OMG, but did a couple of weekly winners the last 48 hours. Kind of fun strategizing there. I know I kind of want to take a crack at weekly winners at least once and just like scan through the schedule, find a game I really like, and just kind of build around that and what other games that week are what I think will work out. There's some interesting strategy there, but like I'd rather also just play DFS. I'd rather also just have the information because I have finished well in DFS at least once or twice. I finished 7th last year in DFS in one of the contests, but none of the buys are great. I think I'll just go Evans though. Like I said, I don't want to have too many players with the same bye week, but if I'm going to stack up a team like the Niners, that's pretty fine. Week 8 is late enough not to worry about, but let's tell you what the Niners schedule is. The Niners will start off in Australia versus the Rams. Then week 2, they're versus Miami. Then week 3, they're versus Arizona. Versus the Broncos week 4. That's not great, but still not the end of the world. Sorry about that. We got at Seattle, a little tough, but in division, anything can happen. Probably a low-scoring game, though. Versus Washington and then at Atlanta. Those two spots are excellent. Week 6 and 7 before the bye week. Not terrible, but I am worried about down the stretch. Ooh, Terry's still available. That's not bad. Pollard goes early in this one, but I think I'm just going to take Terry. I think I'm fine with that. Because Jaden Daniels, I worry about him getting hurt. But until he does, Terry's pretty locked in as the top target there. So I'll go with Terry. Quarterback going a little bit earlier in this one. Drake May goes immediately off the board. So haven't drafted this in a minute. I can't say I'm like super familiar with like the recent ADPs, but I think I still get a quarterback I like in the next round. But heavy blunt hitter. Sometimes the hits hit pretty heavy. Sometimes I'm still coughing up a lung, which is not the most ideal thing to be doing when you're live streaming. But heavy hitter is me. What's up, Paulino? I don't comment much, but do watch. Appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. You as well have the red badge, just like I do. So far, there's only like 3 true sickos in this one. There's Wabi and Gohorns who have the bronze. And then Game Tight with the silver badge is the biggest addict among us. But Seth, what's up? How we doing? Miami gets the Jets week 2 as well. That's pretty awesome. That's nice. They do? Miami is at San Francisco. No, Miami does not get the Jets week 2. Huhaim says Igbuka versus DJ Turner, probably not a great matchup. It could be better, but it's not a name I vividly fear. Like, we'll see. We'll see. What's up, Jerry? How we doing? Thanks for popping in. Thanks for popping in as well, Huhaims. If y'all haven't checked out either of these guys, Jerry Football, Huhaims, good friends of the channel, joined us for the nightcaps on the 10-hour live stream. Led me through a draft while I was on mushrooms, but these guys, great takes, great channels. Highly recommend you check them out. Huhaims and Jiri. But here I am. I could just get Joe Burrow. In this contest, I don't mind it. I don't really give a shit about the stacks in this contest. And as long as Burrow's healthy, like, He'll help me out. I love that Bucks bring back in week 1. That game's going to be fucking thrilling. Cincinnati is at Houston week 2. That's a bummer. But then at Pittsburgh versus Jacksonville, at Miami, then the bye, and then obviously it's Burrow. He can drop 30 any week, but then there's also weeks where he just doesn't quite live up to the billing. Also, he gets hurt very often, but in this contest, I'm just kind of trying to make it as long as I can and then let luck decide my fate. Once you make it to like week 7, week 8, the rest is just like you are making money every single week. It's deposited into your account right away. It's a fun contest, so let's try and make it off pretty well in the early weeks. I like that week 1 Bengals Buccaneers game. And like I said earlier, we have to advance in the pod. I have to finish top 6. 7th, not going to cut it. So shoot for upside. Definitely shoot for upside. Build out your starting lineup. Factor in some of the changes in ADP. Like running back has gotten more expensive. Dobbins is going here. That's kind of a shocker. If there was one contest I prefer him in, it is the Eliminator. And it's a different bye week. Nobody else looks really, really awesome. So I'm tempted to just take Herbert, but I'll go J.K. Dobbins, get back in at running back, and kind of similar to some other picks I've made. We're just praying that they stay healthy long enough to make it to the money weeks. And then who knows, maybe we get a fully healthy season out of them. But what team gets the 101 next year? Cardinals, Jets, Dolphins, or Browns? If I had to guess, it's the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are most likely getting the 101. The Jets, Browns might win like 5 games. That's possible. The Dolphins, I would be shocked to see more than 3. The Cardinals are an interesting wild card, but if I had to guess, the Cardinals are drafting 2nd. Dolphins get the 101. 2nd on the clock is Arizona. 3rd is like the Browns, and then 4th I would say is the Jets probably. There might be a random team that also sneaks in there. The Titans could just suck again. That's possible. Otherwise, hard to envision the Raiders still being that bad. If you told me Jaden Daniels gets hurt again, the Commanders are like totally vying to be last in the division. Could easily be a top 4 pick. Commanders could just be dog shit. Commanders, I don't trust. So, an interesting dark horse candidate would be Washington. You know who's an interesting candidate? The Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers could bottom out. I doubt it. I don't think they're that bad, but their division is so good. If you told me they went 1-5 in division, I wouldn't be surprised. And like they lost some winnable games last year. Their defense can be without Micah Parsons. But didn't they trade that pick to the Cowboys? I'm not sure, but the Packers bottoming out would be pretty shocking. If anything, they're like picking like top 10, not top 5. But they probably are finishing like 8 and 9, 9 and 8 at the worst. But who knows? Chiefs. Yo, that'd be funny. If the Chiefs were the 101. If they're already on the clock for next year's draft, that'd be pretty interesting. I will just get the stack on this one. I'm going to go Brock Purdy with CMC, with Mike Evans. I think it's fine. And the Rams game should be interesting. I don't think he'll suck. But then they get the Dolphins week 2, so that's going to be pretty lit. It's the Niners. We can joke about Kyle Shanahan just a little bit just because he's like such a hard ass. Like Kyle Shanahan is like the stiffest person in the world. Like it's hard to envision like Kyle Shanahan just like relaxing and like having fun. But despite the car accident, prayers for Shanahan. Sounds like a serious concussion. Um, the Niners, I fully trust, even if he misses time. I have no fear in the Niners. But with the AJ Brown investment, you have to go get May. Is that what the yeah, Keith, you did do that. I think that's a fair choice there. You got the bring back week 17 with Waddle for what that's worth. But Kay says, what do badges mean? It indicates how many drafts you've done on the website. The black badge is the first one you can get at 500. 1,000 is what you get for the red badge. That's what I have. I've done over 1,500. I think I might be at 1,600 as of today. I think I'm gonna go Kyle Manungai, actually. Running back is a weird position in this one. Running back gets kind of strange. I have 3 good receivers, 2 strong quarterbacks, and now I have 4 legit running backs. And I think the way I've built it, I can tolerate the Kyle Manungai risk of just not being that involved. But I also think he may be more involved than I'm giving him credit for. And with some of the rising prices on other guys, I think getting the 10-pick slide on Manungai is pretty valuable. So RB4 before a massive cliff, potentially. I know he's a backup, technically, but he's probably in more of a committee than some people think. I have probably kind of faded his committee value a little bit as well. But I think people in the chat have convinced me, and there have been times when I look into his stats and I'm like really impressed. He was a darling off the wire. I had a video on a Thursday or Friday morning after seeing the camp reports that DeAndre Swift missed practice. I'm pretty sure it was a Thursday. I posted a 1-minute video titled "Pick Up Kyle Manungai Immediately." And that week was his best week on the season. I didn't have him in the waiver wire video at top of priority, but he was on the list because of his potential. Then Swift missed 2 practices, and we mentioned it, and it was an amazing addition to your starting lineup. You basically won instantly if you had Manungai in weeks like 8 and 9. So week 8 is when Swift missed. That was the week. We mentioned it. And his potential was on display. He also had multiple like legit weeks, and it's a run first team. Manungai would be amazing if Swift goes down, but also has some standalone value as well. Interesting goal line production. He was very, very safe to actually punch it in when they gave him the ball inside the 5-yard line. But what's up, Sam? How we doing? Thanks for popping in. A-Rod, oh, my mistake. I drafted Josh Allen, was eyeing a bye week game to target, so that matchup was on my mind. No worries. If you snipe me somewhere, no worries. I'm not sure what you're referring to. But about to be on the clock. I need some receiver points. And I will say Wandale piques my interest a lot on this one. We'll see if Keith snipes me, but I think how I've built the team, I think that would really help me. He does go... Oh, no, he goes Dobbs. He goes Romeo Dobbs. So Wandale's still there. I'll take Wandale. I think volume-wise, that would really pay a dividend. If he repeats 140 targets, that'd be pretty insane. That'd be pretty sweet. So we'll take him. We'll go Wandale. Get back in at receiver with volume. And tight end is not a position I'm really going to covet too much. If I don't get an elite tight end, I'm not dying to force it. And this one's interesting. There's been some bully tight ends in this lobby. There's the Loveland, Laporta, and Kittle drafter. There's also the Kraft and Kelsey drafter. Kelsey at 98. Wow. That is bold. I don't understand that. Even with Mahomes, I don't understand that. A week 5 bye is the earliest possible. So to reach on anyone, to do it with Kelsey, kind of shocking. In my opinion. Goes Kincaid as well. So 2 teams, Space Cowboy and Danimal, took 3 tight ends. That might get a little tricky moving forward. With that in mind, I might want to get in before it's too late. Do I shoot for floor or do I just trust my rankings? I'm going to trust my rankings. Even though I think Matthew Golden is a really good pick, I'll just take Dallas Goedert. I don't think week one Jalen Hurts trusts Mekhi Lemon as much as he trusts Dallas Goedert, and I don't have a tight end yet. It could look ugly in the next round. So I'll go Goddard. I rank him in the 115 type of area. I think he's a huge value. I think he's a steal where he goes in the 130s. I do not trust he makes it back to me at 140. Knowing how this lobby went, tight end will consistently be a coveted position, I think, just due to the nature of the board. Teams 2 and 3 both drafted 6 tight ends by pick 122. That makes things different for sure. But I'm jinxing our bet. I think I'm winning the bet, K-Space. I will win the bet. They are not getting over 4.5. They're maxing out at 4, in my opinion. But why can't you just buy a membership now? You could just get one now. There's also that. If you want me to review this team, $4.99 a month. That's $1.25 a week. It's $1.25 a week. Really expensive, right? But Batweed says hello. Hello. Chill on Shanahan. He just recovering. Am I being too rough on Shanahan? Sorry. Packers are my team. I was adopted and my dad said he would send me back if I wasn't a Packers fan. Says Batwheat. That's I've lived in Packers country briefly. Not for long, but I know some people in Iowa, and Iowa's kind of mixed. Iowa's sometimes Minnesota, especially if you're in northern Iowa, but mostly it's Packer territory. And yeah, that seems like something that is like kind of blasphemous within a family. It's like you're either a Packer family or you're not. And then you have a little bit more leeway to go in with whatever direction over there. So I'm not sure where you live, Batweep, but I can understand the guilt trip that ensues if you want to go somewhere else. W for Mego, finally someone who sees what could happen in Green Bay like I do. They got rid of their best target for Love. Jacobs is aging. Watson and Golden unreliable. Parsons hurt already. It could be, yeah, it could really be bad. I agree. There's a world where they do bottom out this year. Jordan Love consistently gets hurt and just hasn't flashed like consistency. He's had some moments of brilliance, but not a consistent career. I'm a little thin at receiver points, so happy to scoop up Stephon Diggs on this one. I'll take him at 140. Sure, I'll do that. Slightly behind ADP, but it's just because of the format, but I have some good veterans in this one. Egbuka, Evans, Terry, Wandale, and Diggs. I don't mind that Diggs hasn't reported for anyone's training camp yet. I think he'll be fine. But all right, we're in round 13. We're coming in around 13. We got 61 people watching, only 30 likes. I think it's fair that for draft number 3, we set a like goal. I'm going to ask you guys what you want, though, but I'll drop a poll. Do you guys want the eliminator? Weekly winners or the Badge Bros Brawl? All $10. If you guys choose weekly winners, this will be the only time I would ever... I'm literally not going to do one more than one weekly winners. But okay. Chig makes it back. And I feel pretty safe with that. It's kind of a late bye week, an early bye week, but I really like him. And at 149, this is where he used to go, and I used to click him like crazy. Now that he's in the 140 area, I don't take him as much. But Let's go Chigo Conquo at 149. We got a different bye week. That's really all that matters to me. I don't give a shit. It is bye week, is in week 7. We have Goddard instead in week 7. But Hoffman, what are the chances Amon Ra and AJ Brown outscored JSN this season? I don't think it's 0%. If anything, I'd put some money favoring Amon Ra, actually. AJ Brown, though, could go nuclear possibly. Like, he's getting towards the end of his prime. He's 29 years old. Just got traded off a really terrible season. I think the worst of his career since his rookie season. Barely had 1,000 yards. So I would say it's like 50-50 between Amon-Ra and JSN. With AJ Brown, it's more like 30 to 70. 70% on JSN. But Monungai did me so nice last year, so maybe I'm a little biased, but I own a lot of Monungai. I'm around market on Monungai. We checked it recently. It was like 6.5%. At one point, I was a little overweight on him, and then I kind of just stopped for whatever reason. I think I started falling in love with Ricky Pearsall, Michael Pittman, and maybe grabbing just other receivers in that round. I take a lot of Rico Dowdle in the 9th, in the 8th round instead. There's other picks I also like. I also like Mahomes in that round a lot. There's a lot of good picks in the 8th round. But I don't think being underweight Monungai by like a wide margin is the best choice. I think having like 5% is definitely too low. You at least should have like market 8% on Monungai because it's the Bears. It's the Bears. You want the backup in Chicago. But A-Rod, I drafted a team earlier today, and the Miami versus Jets matchup was a target for me that I didn't get, unfortunately. Okay. I am on the clock. Tempted to go with quarterback, but Bryce Young so early. Not my favorite pick. Rodgers already off the board, though. Maybe I just take him. He's fallen a full round. Yeah, sure. Okay. He's fallen. I don't need the stack in the Eliminator as much. I already have Purdy stacked up, so at this point we're just shooting for floor. And we got a nice fall on Bryce Young. He does have random spikes. He actually does have some upside. So a discount, just a position of need. I definitely want the 3 quarterback build in the Eliminator. If anything, I want the 3 tight end build as well. I already have 4 running backs, so I don't have to be panicked about who else I get. 2 of them are top 2 picks, so they just have to stay healthy. But even if they don't, maybe I just get eliminated early on, and it never matters. But if anything, I feel pretty good about this team. I feel good about my chances to advance. We got the Cincinnati-Tampa Bay matchup in our lineup week 1. That one's going to be pretty fucking sweet. Evans against the Rams, I think he'll be fine. Terry against the Eagles, that's not the best, but I think he'll find a way. And then CMC, Achan, Dobbins in the lineup. We got some options. I think our team's pretty sweet. I like Goddard a lot. But I might go Dulcich just because I kind of like him, but there's not that many like amazing picks there. Jerry Jeudy went early in this one, 158. Not sure if that's just because it's the Eliminator and he's a veteran, so people trust him a little bit more compared to the rookies in Cleveland. Or if Chad is just like, well, I like Jerry Jeudy as well, and in a draft with Blunt, he's not making it back. So that's definitely possible why Jerry Jeudy went that high. I'm not totally sure. He went well above ADP. It's totally that. It's 100%. Niners fan Chad just agrees that Jeudy gets traded and he's a good pick. But I'm just drafting best players left. No worries, Danimal. There's also that. Danimal going with the 4 straight receivers: Loveland, Ramondre, Chuba, Laporta, Goff, Kittle, C-Rod, Keaton Mitchell, Debo, Samuel, Zach Charbonnet, Tua. Danimal's got an interesting team. Very, very interesting. But Neighbors in the Eliminator still feels kind of gross. I suppose if you advance with him, you're in amazing shape. But what are the chances he actually plays week 1? Like, he might not be on the pup, but he's probably not on the field week 1, right? Maybe I'm underestimating him, but maybe he doesn't show up until like week 4, something like that. But Andrew says Michael Wilson averaged 21 points per game in PPR formats from weeks 11 through 18 with Brissett. I drafted him in 25% of my drafts, and I'm so glad Brissett signed. It's definitely a good news for Michael Wilson type of scenario. Definitely more ideal, but I really don't think it changes my opinion. It just kind of confirms that I already thought was going to happen. So nobody moves down the board, at least. At least there's that. Nobody loses value. Do they gain value? I'm not sure. But this probably ages pretty well, actually. It's possible the MHJ just fucking sucks. But the team... I'll go Darnell Mooney. I just kind of talked myself out of Neighbors being healthy week 1. So I'll go Mooney. I think he could still just be the number 2 in the Giants offense, and that's pretty valuable as well. The Matt Nagy connection is absolutely a valid part of the argument. Yeah, Marv gets hurt quite often. Jeremiah Love is overdrafted, especially with Connor and Algier involved in that backfield. McBride and Wilson are values. Interesting take. I can agree on the Love being overpriced, but I'm not sure McBride is a value. That I don't know if I agree with myself, but Ryan Sports says weekly winners. Let's get weird. So far, the poll has 15 votes, and weekly winners is starting to pull away with it. It has 10 of those votes. 67% say weekly winners in the poll. When all 3 of them are $10, I guess the novelty aspect does make it more appealing. So if you want to draft in the Eliminator, that seems like the only one that could pull an upset, a come from behind selection. But if anything, people are starting to double down on weekly winners. It has actually risen up in the poll since I mentioned it. This is the contest where I want to bet on Tank Dell. If he's healthy week 1, and I don't really want to count on him later in the season. If he helps me move on from this pod, that'd be awesome. He's against the Bills week 1, so possibly going to need him to step up. Possibly a high-scoring game. Tank Dell, come on down. But Hoffman, yeah, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and honestly, fuck the Cardinals for taking Love. You said it, not me. Wish you went to Washington or Titans. Yeah, my shares in pre-draft as well would prefer if that happened. But that's just the world we live in. Swift is really good. He will be RB1 on Bears as long as he is on the field. I don't know if his volume is going up significantly. But he is a very good pick. I trust him a lot. He's not fallen off a cliff, that's for sure. And he is much better than Monangai. I have way more Swift than Monangai, but I don't want to be out on Monangai. But my Bryce, my Mooney. What is BBB? I voted weekly winners. This is accurate. But it's also the Badge Bros Brawl, the 6-person contest. I think if it wasn't 6 people, y'all would have voted for it over weekly winners. But that's just how the contest is. It's a 6-person draft. Get your guys. You should really vary from ADP all over the board. You should try to build a team that can win in week 17. That's the strategy over there. The Badge Rose Brawl is pretty fun. I made the final in the Badge Rose Brawl last season. I built out a nice little Detroit Lions stack. They shit the bed against the Vikings. I did not place well in the Badge Rose Brawl last season. There's a 375 person final. I finished like 310. I min cashed, which was still a decent, I believe, $250. Not bad off, a $10 entry. I didn't draft many in the Badge Rose Brawl, and to make the final was pretty nice, but I had a really bad performance from the Lions. I had Goff, I had JMO, I had Gibbs on that team. Gibbs wasn't even in the lineup. I started Ashton Genty as RB2, and he only had 8.3 points. Gibbs couldn't even hit 9 points in week 17. Gibbs was dog shit. I also had James Cook. He was dog shit. Travion Henderson was dog shit. My running back room was pretty lit. And I only started Swift with 20 points and Genty with 8.3. So that put me well behind the 8-ball. That team kind of fell behind because of it. But Katron's still here? Y'all are afraid of the rookie? Yo, this is a steal. Hell yeah. Katron, 212. Right with ADP, but going way too late. Katron, I think, is a really nice pick. Because at this point, you're drafting a bunch of handcuffs, a bunch of guys that you have no idea what you're going to get. Katron can just win the job in Washington. I might just find myself with the Commander starter once we hit week 4. And I can definitely make it to week 4 with my type of team. I think I will make it out of the pot. I think my starting lineup is pretty sweet. The veterans will be healthy week 1. Who knows how long, but who knows how long I make it in this contest anyways. The 1 out of 2, you have a 50% chance of losing every week. That is valid. Kind of scary, but also a 50% chance of winning every week. A coin flip matchup. Let luck be on your side. Let's let you know how this team went. We got some early buys, but I'm not afraid. I have bye weeks differing at pretty much every position. All of them are mostly different most of the time. But we got Burrow, Brock Purdy, and Bryce Young. I think the stacks are a little overrated. We do have Purdy stacked up, but Joe Burrow, Bryce Young in a vacuum, I think are fine picks. Just to advance, just to keep the floor reasonably high. But running back room has Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, J.K. Dobbins, Kyle Monangai, and Katron Allen. The one concern is that Dobbins and Monangai have the same bye week in week 10, but that's kind of late in the first place. I'm already making some money, and they're not in my starting lineup in the first place, so it's all fine. I think because of the 11-pick fall on Kyle Monangai in a contest where running backs are usually more expensive, I got no issue with that. I really don't worry. I worry not at all about Dobbins and Monangai having the same bye in this team. But receiver, looks like I spread around the buys pretty well, except week 8. I actually kind of paired up 3 week 8 buys on this one, 2 in the last couple rounds. So who knows what happens. But Egbuka, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Wan'Dale Robinson, Stephon Diggs, Darnell Mooney, and Tank Dell. So hopefully a lot of volume. I didn't draft a single rookie other than Katron, but at running back it's a little bit better than whatchamacallit. Wide receiver. Wide receivers usually take longer. Same with tight ends. But Goddard, Okonkwo, and Dulcich. The week 6 bye on Dulcich a little early, but I really don't give a shit. We have 3 that should get high volume. And I like the landing spots for Okonkwo and Dulcich this year. Dulcich played for them at the end of last season, but to stay with a new regime was nice. So I like this tight end room. I think it'll be fine. Receiver, a little top heavy, not going to lie, but I think a lot of volume with some of my later picks. And maybe Tank Dell is just that good. But running back, we had pretty top heavy, but decent depth. And then I think these 3 quarterbacks are good enough to get away with. So fun team, pretty interesting. Let me catch up with the chat, and then we'll take a look at who gets a team review in this one. We have Danimal and Gohorns, Super Beast, all members. Otherwise, it's Game Tight and Niners fan. I think we got 5 team reviews to do on this one. So buckle in. The chat just kind of went popping. Let me catch you up before it's too late. In 2017, I went against Todd Gurley, who scored 48 into the title versus me. I lost by 5.7. Brutal. That is brutal. Someone's got to lose. It's a cruel game sometimes. Sometimes it's not very fun, but we'll never forget my third year playing. I like Pickens over London this season. That's valid. That's a valid take, but I would not agree. I would still take London myself. But Pickens is not far behind at all. K-Space I got in 2805, not bad. Not sure what that is, but Drake, a number 1 over Pickens, a number 2. Mind blown. Hoffman says Dak better than Tua. Also think Falcons want to run a ball a lot more. Tua ain't starting, silly goose. You did hear that. Yes, he is. The other quarterback is practicing. Love to see y'all go back and forth, but I believe Tua will not only start, but keep the job for quite a while. I actually don't feel Penix. I don't fear him at all. Penix, I think, only gets in if Tua suffers a concussion. I think they'll be interesting. Enough for me to be convinced that they also trade for Jerry Jeudy and have the Tua-Jerry Jeudy connection relive the glory days. But weekly winners only contest. I have finished first. You only have to outscore 188,000 teams in one weekly pod. I know, to enter a weekly. Here's the thing. We have not hit the like goal yet. Maybe some people are not into it. We're still sitting at 48 likes. The like goal is 50. The Falcons are going to start Tua. And he did once lead the league in passing. That's a tongue twister. But Andrew, I way prefer Pitts to London, mostly because of price. That's fair. I don't think their target share will be that crazy different. If Tua is quarterback, Tua will be good with them because solid weapons and play indoors. I mean, London is getting at least like 30 more targets than Kyle Pitts. So it might not be drastic, but it's still heavily weighted for London. But versus the position is how you got to evaluate Pitts, not versus other Falcons, in my opinion. But K-Space went popping. For the sake of time, K-Space, not a member, I will not take a look for the sake of time. But we did hit 50 likes. We will confirm we are drafting a weekly winners. But in 2014, I went against Kyron Williams in a flag football game and scored a touchdown. Kyron had 4 and we lost. Bummer. A lot of passionate Tua discussion in the chat. That's interesting. But couldn't see the teams when drafting players could have did better. Spurs doesn't really like his team. Not sure. But all right. I know Tua is awful. Trust me, he made Tyreek and Waddle look shit. Tua's not great. Let's not sugarcoat it. Tua's not great, but he's also not terrible. I got to turn off my fan, but I'll come back. We'll do the team reviews, and then we'll draft and weekly winners. Okay. Let's do these ones quick, and then we'll take a rip from the pipe. But Danimal goes first. He's got Goff, Tua, and Mendoza. Different buys. Excellent. Ramondre, Chuba, C-Rod, Keaton Mitchell, Charbonnet, and ooh, I don't feel good about this. I mean, I guess week 1 is okay for Chuba and Ramondre, but running back room scares me. I'm not sure this is the running back room that finishes top 6 in week 1. So you're going to have to finish top 6 elsewhere. We got Jamar Chase, Pickens, Rashi on this team, Neighbors as well, Debo and Keenan. Honestly, it could work, especially if Neighbors shows up sooner than expected, but a little bit risky, not going to lie, just a little bit. But it's so top-heavy, I think it's going to be fine. We're trying to advance. I think week 1, it all checks out. No issue with the receiver room. whatsoever. Loveland, Laporta, and Kittle. Yeah, you have an awesome tight end room. The running back room does scare me, though. The running backs don't feel very good. I'm a Ramondre hater. I'm a Chuba hater. I like C-Rod, but week one, coming off the foot thing, who knows? And then Keaton, Charbonnet, and Connor, I think are kind of worthless week one and early on in the season. So running back could be an issue. That's a very important room to typically win. I think if you win versus your opponents consistently a running back, you're probably going to win most of the time. But team's not bad. Bye weeks aren't overcommitted to on any single position. If anything, there's fewer overlapping options than my team. So good luck. I worry about running backs, though. Good luck, Danimal. A typical Danimal build. Always really strong at 3 positions, 1 position. Hoping to just be right, despite some ugliness. But Go Horns in here. Also member with Jackson Dart, Stafford, and Gino. We also have Javonte, Beischel, and Rico, Aaron Jones, and Marshawn Lloyd. So far, feels pretty solid. No overlapping buys at all. And then Puka, London, Tet, Parker, Jalen McMillan, Trey Tucker, and Dontavian Wicks. Your top 2 receivers do have a bye in week 11, but to get there, you're making some money, and the receiver room doesn't look too bad otherwise. So that's maybe going to hold you back from winning the contest, but not enough to panic. Totally fine with it. Likely Barner and Gesicki. So tight ends, not the best I've ever seen, but solid enough. And bye weeks were very well avoided in terms of catastrophes. So very balanced roster. No issue with it at all. Just some individual player takes I might not be in love with. Like the Geno pick, good luck. The Parker Washington click is okay, but not my favorite. Tight end doesn't feel like it's the best, but it could just be fine. Solid team. Solid team. It is mid enough with some upside. I think it could perform decently well. But Super Beast has Drake May, Tyler Shuck. Not bad. Taylor, Love, Jalen Warren, Mason. Pretty solid top 4. Emmett and Kimani Vidal. Very interesting to go Kimani there. I wouldn't do that. They have a good schedule early on, but how much will he see the field while Hampton's healthy? I don't know. Mostly betting on an injury there. I would have preferred Katron. I know you passed on Katron for Kimani. I would not have done that myself. AJ Brown, Waddle, Tyson, Pittman, Dobbs, Coker, AD Mitchell, Ridley. Very balanced, very solid. No issue at all. Receivers pretty loaded, honestly. Pretty good depth. Top 6, all check out. Not sure you need both of these guys, but I think it's fine. Juwan Johnson and Gadsden. I think I'd prefer a third tight end than that 8th receiver. Whether it's AD Mitchell or Ridley, I think I wouldn't have taken both of them because I actually feel pretty good if I have these top 6. That does check out pretty well. So only one pick I have to complain about. Otherwise, it's pretty sweet. That's a good team there from Super Beast. We also have Game Tight in the lobby. We got Trevor Lawrence, Malik Willis. Not my favorite combo, but I suppose it is okay. Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift, Quinshon Judkins, Kenny Gainwell, Tyler Algier, B-Rob, Mike Washington. That's a lot of running backs there. But decent draft capital. Didn't overcommit too early. Has Amon-Ra and Bowers. So, fun team at running back. Amon-Ra, BTJ, Sutton, Wilson, Shaheed, Flournoy, and Tolbert, though, feels pretty kind of thin. Like, counting on Flournoy and Tolbert quite a bit, but Shaheed, probably going to be pretty valuable. Willis is probably high upside. At 112, oh, that's pretty sweet. Sutton, I don't like. And then BTJ is a big gamble. But you also have Amon-Ra, so the anchor feels pretty sweet. It's not thin at all. I just, these last 2 might not hit the lineup too often. The Tolbert click, I just don't understand. I do not understand. but maybe I'm just not tracking the camp reports well enough. But Bowers and T-Ferg, that checks out. 2-7-7-2. Pretty decent team. I don't like Sutton very much, though. There's nothing thin about it, though. I think if anything is thin, it might be quarterback, not receiver. All fine. Good luck. And lastly, we had Niners fan Chad with Caleb, Kyler, and Brissett. Derrick Henry, Scatterboat, Rashad White, Kamara, and Coleman. Another balanced bye-week exposure. Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Roma Dunze, Ricky Pearsall, Khalil Shakir, Jerry Jeudy at 158, Branch and Pat Bryant, Tyler Warren, and Hunter Henry. Pretty sick team. Yeah, it maybe because most people go balanced and try to get different buys, it's easier to do, but like I feel like every team I reviewed in this one was really well built, really nice combinations, and like every position typically feels strong. On occasion there was a running back room here or there that didn't feel great, but let me remind myself how my team went. Honestly, I'm like, how do I feel about my team? Burrow, Purdy, Young, CMC, Achan, Dobbins, Monungai, Katron, Egbuka, Mike Evans, Terry, Wandell, Diggs, Mooney, and Tank Dell, Goddard, Okonkwo, and Dulcich. Yeah, we're chilling. We're fine. No issue with that. But all right, we're gonna hop into weekly winners. First and only time, I guarantee you, I will never do this again. Okay. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. But sorry, let me check something really quick. Just a text from my girlfriend real quick. Okay. All right. Weekly winners. Hop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Not a 10-second countdown, just a 5-second one. Let's see how it goes, but I've never been in one of these. I have no fucking clue how it's different, how it's not. We will find out. I'm going to skip past the Tua discussion, but an A- grade. Is this for my team? I'm not sure, but Loveland is so filthy. He's Caleb's go-to option on any play. Flores, K-Space says, Flores was, all right, you're still talking about Tua. I'm going to take a rip from the pipe. I'm going to get away from this madness regarding Tua. Let's just take a rip. Clean slate. We're in weekly winners. Anything can happen. Let's go. But Pitt's one of your highest drafted players. That's not bad. Am I planning on going to a few Chargers games this season, albeit Patriots versus Raiders week 5? Interesting. I'm going to go to 3, I believe. I'm planning the Chiefs game, week 17. I forget the week, but I'm also planning the Patriots game. And then I'm not totally sure on the third one yet. Might be the Broncos game. Or the Raiders if I just really want to see them win. But I think they can I think they will beat the Broncos. I think they will. But what's up, Mr. Bakes-a-Lot? How we doing? Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Definitely not just baking in the oven, but baking at home, outdoors, in nature, wherever you can. But Danimal, you and I are indeed neighbors, that's for sure. Cook goes. I was hopeful to get James Cook, honestly. I actually really did want James Cook, but we're gonna get some good running backs available regardless. It's all fine. But pick 12. Not sure if that's good or bad, honestly. I really have no idea, but I'm definitely taking Hampton, no doubt about it. I am taking Hampton. And then fuck. I know they play the Patriots. You know what? I'll be at this game. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Hampton and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown at SoFi against the Chargers. That game should be fun. Patriots and Chargers. A rematch with a real O-line. Let's do that. Let me find out what week that is. The schedule for the Chargers. They are playing the New England Patriots week 12. Week 12. All right. So I'm letting you guys know right now I'm shooting for week 12. That's the week I'm trying to win. I'm going to look up some matchups. There might be some I really like, but Sunday Night Football, Pats Chargers. Yeah. He goes Genty or AJ Brown. I'm targeting Pats Chargers week 12. Hopefully. Here's the thing. There's 17 weeks. Does this contest even run through week 18? It should. I feel like this contest should run through week 18. Yes. Oh no. I'm not sure. No, weeks 1 through 7. Why not week 18? This contest might as well have week 18 in it. Like, fuck it. But okay, if we can finish top 30, we get $250. But like I said, this is the one and only time I'm going to be drafting in weekly winners. But yeah, we got a meow in here. We definitely have a meow in here. Speaking of which, yeah, she's been getting cranky in the summer heat. She has been wanting some extra food. But she's getting a little chubby, honestly. What's up, Bukowski? How we doing? Here for the cat sounds. You're definitely getting them, that's for sure. But Patriots Raiders will be a sick one. I could see the Raiders play like dog shit against the Patriots. Meanwhile, Mike McDaniel has really, really dominated the Patriots. He knows the Patriots very well, so they should really step up against them. But Ryan says, I went to Chargers Cowboys last season in Dallas. Was amazing. Yeah, that was a really fun game. Herbert dropped 30 fantasy points that week. Herbert was awesome in that game. That one was nice, but Chargers did whoop them. Yup. They showed up in that one. Yeah, we'll see how this one goes, but some games I might like in that week. I'm not going to say it until I'm on the clock. I don't want to get sniped, but maybe saying it will prevent you guys from sniping me, just to be generous. Because you guys can target other weeks, you know? Like, that's what's nice. We can all target different weeks. Allen went pick 23 in this one. I was wondering where Allen was going to go. He went really early. Lamar goes there. Wow, interesting. I'm going to go Lad with one of those picks. And then who are the Giants playing? Giants are at the Colts. That could be interesting for Scatabo. Kyron is hosting the Packers. Not in love with it. I think I'll queue up Scatabo. Actually, no. I'm going to go Travis here. He's going to be at the Bengals. The Bengals have one of the worst run defenses imaginable. Travis Achan, Sunday morning at Cincinnati. It's late November, but I'm not going to worry about the weather. If anything, it might be more beneficial to run the ball. I think that's going to be a big Travis game. Bengals run defense? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Definitely give me Travis there for week 12. That's a fun matchup. But Jets Drop Bomb says, GM, in the 6 spot, good luck. You go Amon-Ra, Ken Walker, and Josh Jacobs. Let me know what week you are shooting for. The cat is pissed that she is getting ignored a little bit, but no, she's just been like legitimately really cranky. I'm not sure what's I think it's the heat, you know. The big fur coat, the room gets a little bit on the hot side sometimes. I do have air conditioning, but the room still gets hot, especially during the day at like 4 p.m. when it's like peak heat. That's usually when it starts. But I've been giving her a bunch of treats lately. Let's see. We've been live for over 2 hours. Yeah, she usually wants some attention around this time, but not enough to get some camera time. Say hello? You want to say hello? Okay. Okay. I'll give her a little treat. We'll do that. All right. She does have everything she needs, though. There's water. There's a clean litter box. There's food around. Sometimes she just gets cranky, but I did turn off the air conditioner. Maybe she's already hot. Maybe she's already getting warm, but she got them. She got some treats. All right. We got Hoffman saying Genty Bowers with improved O-line. I feel like they gonna score more than people think. Sometimes, yeah, and like Genty can really drop a lot of points, but last year, if anything, Hampton against the Patriots isn't really the best matchup you might want. But Patriots had a good run defense last season. It's not the most ideal scenario, actually. So I like the Chargers. I was definitely going to target the Chargers. The matchup I wanted the most, to be honest, was actually like Chargers-Bills. Week 3, I would love to have that. I also think targeting a week where the buys aren't a factor is also pretty nice. Actually, no, that might be worse. Week 12 is one of those weeks where every team is available. Maybe you should target a week where there's a lot of teams on bye. Oh, the Lions are at home against the Bears in week 12. Hell yeah. JMO's there. Hell yeah. That's a Thanksgiving game. JMO at home against Chicago. I'll take him. Jadarian Price, who's he playing? At San Francisco. I think I'll pass on that. If anything, I'm just going to get the bring back. I'm going to go Rome Odunze here. Yeah, give me Rome. I might not get the quarterback I want. but it's all right. It'll be okay. But the stack feels like it's probably a good move. But um, who Chargers are getting last in the division? That's insane. That would be crazy. Um, 92 in Massachusetts. That's tough. Massachusetts 92 feels worse. Fucking humid out there. But it is near the coast if you can get to the beach. It's pretty nice. I lived in Eastie, if you know Boston. I lived off the Blue Line, Maverick Station when I was in college. But good luck. She's a beautiful cat. She's I love my cat. But Mr. Bakeslot has a Siamese blue point and a Bengal swirl. Interesting. I'm not sure what a Siamese blue point is, but sounds interesting. Do you have a favorite college football team or nah? I guess it's USC. I went to Emerson College, which does not have a football team. I did go to University of San Diego for a year before I transferred to Emerson. They have a football team, but like, you know, not a particularly good one. So I think I would just stick with the Homer bias. I live near the Rose Bowl, and like the only time I ever really cared about college football was when the Trojans made the Rose Bowl and were good in like the 2000s. So that's probably my team. But at this point in time, I really don't watch college football. I don't really care too much. So yeah, I can't say I really have one. But the Raiders, yeah, the Raiders are definitely finishing last in the division. That's, I mean, maybe the Chiefs could do it. Chiefs finished pretty terribly last year, but probably dependent on an injury. Of course, Space Cowboy has to snipe me with Herbert unstacked. What's the point of Herbert unstacked? Tell me, Space Cowboy. What week are you building where Herbert was the best pick for you? Let me know, because I have a feeling that was probably just trying to fuck me over. But Jags hosting the Titans. That could be interesting. Shit. I think I'm just gonna take Rico for his spike week capabilities. He's hosting Denver on Friday. Ah, shit. This is kind of tough. I'm just gonna go Jackson Dart. He's at the Colts. A lot of rushing upside, just getting high upside. I'm still building for week 12. I'm still trying to build for week 12, but Chargers winning the division. Yeah, raising the floor, always nice, but this is weekly winners. Like, which week does Herbert are you trying to hit the lineup with? Unstacked is my question. But look, he's a great pick. I think in this contest, you need to fucking stack, though. I think in this contest, you really need to be stacking. I don't think it's just random, like, oh, I got this piece here, this piece there, this piece. I think stacks are very important in this. But gotcha. Most people in Massachusetts live pretty close to Boston. But Yeah, at this point, I'm pretty much mostly just all NFL. Um, A-Rod says, gotta hate the he hears. Yeah, drafting by tiers makes some sense. But in this contest, it's kind of all thrown out the window. But if you don't have a stack in this, it's like, what's the point? Um, Hoffman says Broncos winning the division, Chargers number 2, Chiefs number 3, Raiders 4, 4 for 4 book it. Same as last year. I think that'll change. The Broncos schedule got much tougher. I don't know about that. But Ryan asking, what is this lobby doing at quarterback? Stafford also unstacked. That's interesting. I mean, at least Dart doesn't have to be stacked. Like, Dart had 9 rushing touchdowns last year. There's a bunch of backstacks, so I can figure it out. But it was mostly like looking at his matchup at the Colts. Indoor game, definitely nice. The Colts don't have the best defense imaginable. So I could see Jackson Dart go pretty bonkers in that one. James Cook team is sneaky. We got Cook, Saquon, Hurts, and Herbert, Egbuka, Mike Evans, Tyler Warren, and Ricky Pearsall. But Herbert gonna no way. No way. 10? No fucking chance. 6, maybe. I could see 6. 10? No way. Jaden Reed on a Wednesday night game. No, I don't want the Wednesday game on that one. Fuck that. Um, Chiefs are at Buffalo. Chiefs are at Buffalo. I think I'm just gonna stack up Isaiah Likely though. Lock in one of those picks. Who do the Vikings play? Actually, no. I'm gonna go Addison. Addison, equally high ceiling, but has actually looked good. And he's gonna be home against the Falcons. I like that a lot, especially for the number 2. I could see them get into an interesting shootout potentially. Last year, they just got dominated by Bijan, so they're going to be in catch-up mode. I think the Falcons are more likely to win that game, or at least be leading, but it should be a high-scoring game. They cannot stop Bijan. That's for sure. So I like that matchup for Addison. Week 12, we got the Vikings hosting the Falcons. We'll go Addison on this one, because Addison can drop like 35 for sure. But I think the point of like drafting a quarterback that can finish number 1 overall is kind of the main prerogative. I probably only go one quarterback on this team. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really see the point of drafting multiple quarterbacks. Not the biggest deal to me. There's some that I just don't think are worth it at all. They just become so unvaluable. But this lobby was always meant to be just pure chaos. But yeah, Herbert didn't make Goff didn't make it. Herbert didn't make it either. It's all fine. That's why we took Dart, because at this point, to expect the stack to be there in the 12 hole, not great. But Mike Evans either going to get injured and suck or be top 12 receiver. No in between, in my opinion. I could easily see him just be top wide receiver like 18, 20, just because he's barely made it to 1,000 yards a few times. There's definitely the risk of that. And he probably misses sometime, but he's not going to suck. He's not going to suck when healthy, at least. Wonder what the Stafford unstacked week optimal looks like. I know. This one's weird. This lobby was always destined to be weird. I agree here, Hoffman. I think Herbert definitely needs to run less. He shouldn't never run. He should still put up like 350 rushing yards, if you ask me. I would love that. But he doesn't need to hit 500. That's definitely for sure. Unless there's just like some big plays he picks up. He could just have like a 70-yard run randomly that pads the numbers. But copy paste Lade says never done weekly winners, but have to imagine it's terrible to take multiple quarterbacks before you can field full lineup with other positions. I know. I'm very tempted to just stop with Jackson Dart. Like, Dart is one of the names that can be QB1 on the week, let alone like top 5 finish. And I think that's really the only name remaining that can do it. Like, maybe Malik Willis mixes in this late, but there's not that many guys I think can actually drop the QB1 performance. So I'm tempted to just stop at Jackson Dart, honestly. Legitimately. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But Herbert ain't going to be running quite as much this year. Still scrambling. Beck goes Malik Willis. Goddard goes. Bummer. Would have loved Goddard. Shaheed, definitely a better pick than Shakir. Shaheed is high spike week type of guy. He is at San Francisco in that week, so totally not a matchup I fear. We got C-Rod against... Actually, maybe the stack with Tyrone Tracy is the play. I'm going to go Oronde Gadsden, actually. I do not think this is a lobby where you need a shit ton of running backs, and the bet on Tracy there is mostly just the bet against Scatabo. So I'll go tight end. It's a weird lobby for tight ends, but in terms of like game breakers, we have some really high upside guys. Like if you told me Isaiah Likely dropped 140 yards and 2 touchdowns randomly, I would believe it. Same with Gadsden. There's not that many games that can just kind of break the slate open. Tight end is a weird position. And I'll just shoot for upside. We are building for week 12 that Patriots Chargers game. Would have been awesome had we gotten Herbert, but we didn't. However, last year, the Patriots were a very good matchup for the tight end position. They gave up a lot of points to the tight end position. That could happen once again. But I have Hurts. What are you chasing rushing touchdowns for? The logic is non-existent. I know, right? Look, at this point in time, I just expect to get sniped all the fucking time. At this point, I just expect the snipe. It is what it is. But Stafford to T-Ferg, 3-seam route touchdowns is optimal. T-Ferg is going to look pretty good this year. I'm starting to really believe that it was just the rookie season that held him back. But, like, I liked him a lot last year. If I'm only drafting one Rams tight end, I think it is T-Ferg. But Herbie is so talented. Really hope he shows out and shuts up the haters. Ladd over under 8.5 touchdowns. I would still maybe hit the under on Ladd's touchdowns. It's probably going to hit the over, but I think I would hit the over on QJ 8.5, actually. I expect Ladd to hit it as well, but we'll see. But Herbert had the second most rushing yards last year. I believe this is true. His rushing touchdowns, though, were pretty slim. I think he had a maximum of 3 rushing touchdowns. It might have only been 2. Justin Herbert. Um. Oh, this is weird. It gives you weekly averages in this? Weird. That is strange, but an average weekly rushing touchdown average of 0.1. Yeah, that's definitely just 2 on the season. That's weird. Okay, I need some running backs. Bigsby's my guy, so Bigsby's on the team. And now quarterback has like drastically been ignored. That's kind of funny. Um might queue up T Ferg, but Kamara's there. I'm just gonna take T Ferg. Who cares? Who the fuck cares? Definitely someone that can finish as tight end 1 randomly. He gets the Packers week 12 on Wednesday. That's not good. Wednesday's going to be a weird game. They just want to get the fuck out of there on a Wednesday game. So maybe that was a bad call, but I could also see maybe they use the year 2 tight end a little bit extra in that one, the younger guy, instead of the veterans playing on Wednesday. But they are also coming off the bye. Oh yeah, they come off the bye. It doesn't matter. That one will be maybe useful, maybe not. I'm not sure. But T Ferg, in terms of upside remaining, not that many like elite spike weeks I would expect out of TJ Hawkinson. Not compared to T Ferg. Hawkinson would need like 2 touchdowns to make that happen. Ferguson could just have like a 150-yard game. Potentially. But all right. Let me know what you guys think about this quarterback strategy, because we're still only rocking with Jackson Dart right now. And I'm sure it's going to dry up soon. But when are they dropping a new tournament? Probably tomorrow, if I had to guess on a Monday, but maybe not until like Wednesday, possibly. I doubt it'll take long because 2 contests just filled over the weekend, and then the Frenchie filled so fast they dropped another one. So I would expect tomorrow, probably, most likely. But if you don't stack in this, you are dead on arrival. I would agree. I would agree. But Hoffman saying Hampton 11 rushing touchdowns and 4 receiving is my projection. 15 total, very good. I think he can catch more receiving touchdowns than just 4. I also think he can give you like 14 rushing touchdowns in terms of true ceiling. I think he could crack 20 total. I think it's possible. I think 15 is a very reasonable projection. Well, if you plan on taking Herbert, why not take Lab? Is the question. It's bolt up, no S, but if Mike McDaniel brought you here, K-Space, I'm glad you're a fan. I'm glad you're a believer. Let's fucking go. This I can get behind. This I can absolutely get behind. MVP season is loading. About to be back on the clock. I'm kind of tempted to take Jonah Coleman just a little bit. The bring back against Rico, and I could totally see J.K. Dobbins injured by then. So I think I'll just do it. I'll go Jonah Coleman. Why not? Like, I never take Coleman, so in this, fuck it. Duntavian Wicks feels like a nice spike week type of guy. He plays at Dallas. Hell yeah. Sweet. We get a Thanksgiving game for Dontavian Wicks at the Cowboys. Fuck yeah. Me and Danimal, the only teams with one quarterback so far. Danimal has Lamar Jackson. I have Jackson Dart. Trusting in Jackson, both of us. No need for anyone else. K-Space still ended up with his stacks. Who you got with Herbert, K-Space? Who you got? I don't see a stack there. Not a single one. You got Kate Otten and Trey Harris. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah. Perfect. I like 2 QBs so you can maybe compete in other weeks. That is also fair, but I think in general, like, CJ Stroud feels worthless to me in this. To expect a number 1 overall finish, like, in this contest, you need the QB1 overall. So I think the only week I'm not viable with just Jackson Dart is week 8 when he's on bye. Like, legitimately, other than Malik Willis, I don't think any other quarterback can hit QB1 on the week. Maybe Brissett could do it if he throws the ball like 40 times again. Geno, fuck no. Daniel Jones, if he's not going to run, I doubt it. Cam Ward, possibly, but that's a pretty bold call. Sam Darnold, maybe. If I was going to take a quarterback next to Jackson Dart, I think I needed to take one instead of Rico Dowdle. I think that was kind of the only pocket to get one that was valuable. Or I should have taken Tyler Shuck instead of Likely or Addison. But legitimately, I think just betting on Jackson Dart is totally fine. I have 2 picks left. I could take another quarterback, though. I could. But, like, at this point, just give me a fucking backup. Like, at this point, is Mendoza really putting up a top 5 week? Is Rodgers doing that maybe once or twice, but, like, consistently? I don't know. He's hosting Denver in that game. Fuck no. Shador is hosting the Raiders week 12. Maybe Shador. He's got some weapons. He's had an interesting spike week, but legitimately, I think taking Jameis Winston is on the table. Legitimately. You might think I'm fucking crazy, but in terms of DFS lineups, someone that no one else will have, and it's still the same bet on the Giants, I'm honestly, like, willing to do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna time out here, and I'm gonna go with him. I'm also gonna take Malachi Fields. Give me a rookie that stacks up there. Do you remember the Jameis Winston game last year? Do you remember Jameis Winston at Detroit in the Dome? Jameis can absolutely give me a top 5 week. And Jackson Dart might just miss time. So I think that's actually, like, if you're going to handcuff it, I think this is perfect. I don't give a flying fuck about a bagel week 8. I don't give a shit. Every week I get the Giants starter. I am live, given who they have. Hampton, though, we're vying for week 12. That was the whole plan. Maybe it'll hit on a different week, but that's what I'm really shooting for. That's the week I want the most. Hampton on Sunday Night Football hosting the Patriots with the 2 tackles healthy this time. Travis Etienne, week 12, will be at the Cincinnati Bengals, one of, if not the best running back matchups last season. On Friday night, Black Friday on Amazon, we get Rico Dowdle hosting the Denver Broncos. Not a good secondary matchup, so Rodgers will be handing it off a lot. Might be a very low scoring game, but I could also see an interesting turn of events for Dowdle. That could be a week where he just has to go nuclear for them to compete. But I got Tank Bigsby. We're vying for week 12. So at some point, I'm hoping that Bigsby is the starter. If so, he will be at Dallas week 12. If he's the starter, that'd be pretty lit. But we got Jonah Coleman at Pittsburgh for the week 12 bring back. I never take Coleman, but in weekly winners, why the fuck not? At pick 180, it's definitely more interesting than ADP 154. So I have no idea what to make of it, but it has the Rico Dowdle bring back week 12. And the Steelers' run defense is not scary whatsoever. But we're still shooting for week 12. We got the A.J. Brown, Lad McConkey bring back. That Chargers game Sunday night should be fun. We got Jamison Williams. He is hosting the Chicago Bears in the Dome on Thanksgiving. That game's going to be very, very high scoring. Ramadunze with the bring back. And then week 12, I got Minnesota with Jordan Addison. High spike week play with Addison. He is hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Let's hope that Kyler can be trusted. But Shaheed, week 12 is at the Niners. That game could be a little bit more high scoring as well. He's a high spike week type of guy in general. Wicks is at the Cowboys. So paired up with Bigsby, maybe a nice matchup there. That one should be fun. That defense doesn't scare me very much. And then Malachi Fields, a backstack with the Giants quarterback. I got Isaiah Likely as well stacked up there. Gadsden, that Patriots game should be also pretty fun. And then Terrence Ferguson off the bye, hosting the Green Bay Packers, might pay off the bye week. You never know. So in terms of building it for week 12, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. But you guys might think I'm insane drafting Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston. But legitimately, I have a top 5 ceiling every single week, other than week 8 when they're both on bye. Jameis can totally do that. He's done it before. They'll be at the Colts. The Indianapolis Colts is not maybe the most ideal matchup, but if you told me they can't stop Jonathan Taylor and they're just in garbage time all game, that could also be pretty high scoring. I kind of like that. So their run defense is garbage. At least it was last year. Taylor could totally just like go nuclear in the first half, and then whatever quarterback they have is just like chucking it like crazy and running around. I think that's a fun game. I think this is a fun spot. Week 12 doesn't have a single bye at all, so it was never in jeopardy. Every pick became viable for me. Week 12 might be an interesting spot to try to win. So wish me luck. I don't think I'm going to do a single team review, though. I don't really want to. Because, like, it's all dependent on, like, which week you're going towards. So, like, this one was a weird one. I kind of don't really have any interest in, like, piecing together the nuances of your line. Like, if you look at my team in a vacuum, it's fucking crazy. It's really odd. It's really weird. But it's really strong at receiver. It's top-heavy at running back, but has some high spike week potential on the bench, and then tight end is loaded for upside. Quarterback is just totally committed to the Giants. Yeah, this team in a vacuum looks fucking crazy. But I guess for the sake of like trying to understand somebody else's logic, it might be worth looking into. But let me just catch up with the chat first. But Ryan says, love the Dart and Likely stack. I know, in weekly winners, I think that is pretty fun. In the season-long formats, not as much. But weekly winners, let's go. But taking more than one quarterback in weekly winners, you're betting against your previous quarterback pick by not throwing Dart on a different position. That can spike. Yeah, I do think the one quarterback strategy is very viable. I think 2 with just a really inexpensive number 2 is the best way to go. And then also getting the backup really is the way to play DFS. The guy that nobody else fucking has. Like, how often are people actually rostering Jameis Winston in weekly winners? But If you started him that week against Detroit last season, that was the piece you needed. It totally makes sense in my opinion. There's not a ton of teams where it's worth it, but if you wanted to just go Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, I wouldn't mind that at all. I think that's pretty sweet. I think Mahomes, Justin Fields is also a way you could play it. And like, there's gonna be weeks that you need a full fade, so getting the double buy is totally fine. But Hoffman, let me know any season bets you like. I'd be betting every day on DraftKings MLB. I am hot right now. If you have a hot streak, I don't want to fuck with it because honestly, I haven't looked at a single over under line on the season long props. I don't know if I'm the best source for that, honestly, but that one sounds pretty good, Hoffman. I will say, barring injury, that one sounds very, very attainable. No doubt he should hit it if he's healthy. But yeah, Rams tight ends, both of them could be viable, but I like T. Ferg a little bit more for the sake of upside. Jacoby is also interesting. Jacoby's one of the few that could actually be valuable at cost, but Hoffman, Brock Purdy's so underrated. Just gotta stay on the field. He's a guy I want as my backup quarterback. That's a good call. Yeah, love Purdy as the number 2. Very, very affordable this year. Apparently, Jets drop bombs targeting NFC North games. That's not a bad one. That's not bad. Jackson Dart got that swagger. Love him. Yeah, he's a good athlete and just plays with reckless abandon. That's exactly what you want. Someone that's not going to take the foot off the gas at any point in time. But Shivadelphia, that's a fun username. It's a very weird strategy. Quarterbacks score the most points per week / game. Yeah, but I'm just betting on Jackson Dart. I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it. It's a crazy format. Like, how many teams are we going up against every week? There's a total of what? How many teams are drafted in this contest? I don't think it says here. That's weird. Usually it says. I'm going to pull that up separately and we'll see. But I wanted Harris, stacked him with Harris. Good luck with Trey Harris, but he's mostly contingent upside. I think he has a pretty capped ceiling. I think Brandon Thompson's more interesting than Trey Harris in this format, just for the cost alone. But in weekly winners, we are battling against 186,839 other teams. If you told me I have the advantage in my flex and I just have like a quarterback that can hit top 5 like 6 different times, maybe 10 different times, I think that's the range for Jackson Dart. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I'm not expecting to win more than once in this format. So I think it's totally fine to just hyper target 1 week. If you want to load up on quarterbacks, especially unstacked, be my guest. But if you are going to do it, it better be fucking stacked. Better be stacked. That's my stance. I prefer to have at least top 10 quarterbacks per team or as close as I can get to that top 10 tier range. I consider Dart in that range. But like I said, some of you guys are going to think I'm fucking crazy with this one. But it's okay. Like, in this contest, I think you're crazy to enter in the first place. So crazy is needed in this one. But Chargers Rams Super Bowl, totally possible. I could also envision a Bears Broncos Super Bowl or maybe a Lions Jaguars Super Bowl. I think those are like my top 3 candidates. In the NFC, the Rams, the Bears, or the Lions would be my picks. In the AFC, I would go Chargers, Broncos, or Jaguars. I do not believe in the Patriots again this season. If that happens, that'd be fucking bullshit. That would suck. The Bills, possibly, but with a rookie head coach, I doubt it. And then with the drama of Mike Vrabel at head coach, I also kind of doubt it. But I'm going for the week 1 hammer with Tonjes tight end 1 and Lloyd RB1 after the surprise NFL Jacobs suspension. Interesting, Ryan. You know what, Go Horns? With that in mind, with week 1 in mind, let's take a look. Purdy and Jordan Love, Javonte, Cam Scatterbo, Swift, and Lloyd. Good luck with Lloyd. Puka, BTJ, Quentin Johnston, Chris Godwin, Golden, Juwan Jennings, Jalen McMillan, Tank Dell, AD Mitchell, Christian Kirk, a shit ton of receivers. And then Bowers, Jake Tonjes. That's fun. Or Jameis Winston never plays 1 snap this season. I don't understand the thought process versus at least quarterbacks on the board that will start every game. Huh? I'm committing to the Giants. And the problem with Jackson Dart is that he enters the blue tent a lot and he might come off the field. But this week, I just lock in the Giants starter every week. You could tell me I have the Panthers quarterback instead, and he never cracks the ceiling of the Giants quarterback. It's the team bet. Like I said, you don't have to understand it. In this contest, I know some of y'all are gonna fucking hate it, but I'm doing what I want. I'm doing what I fucking want. I'm having fun. If anything, plus EV for you, right? So, I'm willing to mix it up. I like the Giants quarterback as a weekly play, regardless of who it is. I like it. I also want to get unique in a 186,000 person contest. Nobody else has Jameis Winston the weeks when he pops off. But I think with Dart, you can easily project at least 1 full start for Jameis Winston. Dart is going to get banged up and concussed. He will miss at least 1 full game. But no worries, Hoffman. Going to bed. I'll see you later. Have a good one. But K-Space, damn, my week average is fire as fuck. 185, nice and blunt average. Week 159, ouch. Projections don't mean shit. Projections don't mean shit. It's easy to have a high projection when you have all those quarterbacks. But only one can hit the lineup. But Keith, I tried something different with week 11 being bye mania. I drafted all of their bye weeks to attack week 11. That was something I also considered. Narrowing the player pool is also probably helpful. I think week 11 is a solid one to target. I think week 12 offers the advantage of every single player you draft is viable that week. But you can also just avoid a certain bye week if that's how you also want to play it. I have no idea what's the best strategy for this kind. I think you just have to get lucky. That's kind of the main thing. But to expect to be competitive like 5 different weeks in this, I think is pretty bold and naive. Like, I think just being competitive in 1 single week, given the pool of teams eligible, I'd rather just hyper target 1 week and hope for the best with a 20K prize up top. Everything else, you're just getting lucky. So who the fuck knows? But problem with Jameis being the top 5 guy is that it is coming from passing touchdowns. So dudes, he can catch a touchdown. He can also catch a touchdown pass. But Game Tight likes my build. Very legit for this contest. Yeah, who knows what works in this contest, man? Who the fuck knows? 185.3. Is that my weekly? 159. I don't care about the weekly average. I really don't. Especially when Jameis is going to give me fucking nothing. The projection doesn't matter to me. McDaniel didn't bring me here. I mean to the Chargers bandwagon. I mean to the Chargers bandwagon. Appreciate the super chat. Very thankful for that K-Space. I meant glad to have you on board with the Chargers. But if the Chargers brought you to my channel and you've been a fan of them for a very long time, that's also dope as fuck. Appreciate you, man. Love you too. Greater than 3 as well. But been sent you superstars last year, brother, and made maybe even a year before. Can't quite remember how long. You definitely been here at least for over a year. Um, gotcha. Fantasy football brought you here. Sweet, but um, thank you very much. Appreciate it, but um, the structure's ridiculous. Um, yo, Game Tight, did you win in weekly winners? Okay, sweet. Game Tight won. Um, Game Tight had the 101. Let's take a look at Game Tight's team. If he might know something, let's take a look. He has Dak and Stroud. Is there a week you're targeting Game Tight, or is it kind of random? I would imagine there's probably a week that you are targeting, if I had to guess. But Gibbs, Travion, Quinchon, Corum, Rodriguez, Algier, and Jaden Blue. Pickens, Nico, Tyson, Downs, Higgins, Jalen Knoll, and Cavante Turpin. That's fun. I think you got to get weird in the last round. I think you really got to get weird in the last round. That's the kind of only way to differentiate yourself randomly, is like the big epic scroll and the stack that nobody else has. But Jake Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, so the double tight end stack, very interesting. But appreciate that, K-Space. Chargers left San Diego. Were you fans since then? I had a brief connection. I lived in San Diego for a year in college. My freshman year was in San Diego, and they kind of grew on me. When I was there, I liked them. Obviously, their uniforms are sick. I wish they won more playoff games, but I kind of liked them. I had a soft spot for them. They always felt interesting and intriguing. They were always fun to watch, good underdog to root for. But once they came to LA, that's really when I adopted them as my team. I root for the Lakers. They're always the favorites in some way or shape or form. The Dodgers are heavy favorites, but I don't really care about hockey, and at least football. The Rams came in, they're the favorites. So I figured, why not root for one major underdog? I have more connection to San Diego than I do St. Louis. So when the Rams came to town, I was like, I'm not as excited. What about these Chargers, though? Let's take a look at the Chargers. But K-Space, that's all I care about, because if the Dolphins left, I don't know how I'd feel. But I know Chargers originated in LA. I think you might be right as well. I think it was very brief, but I think you might be right. They definitely had a stint in LA for a time before they went to San Diego. Drew Brees, Antonio Gates, those guys are sick. But Dolphins had a chance to get him and Nick Saban. Chose Culpepper. That's right. Nick Saban gave a physical to Breeze. He failed it, and they didn't bring him in. If that had happened, it would have been a much different career path for Nick Saban, probably. But, yo, what's up, Professional Fanatics in the house? Welcome in. We're about to hit midnight, so it's pretty late. Thank you for joining us. And Professional Fanatics going to be in the Iron Throne League. I noticed you sent some Discord messages, brother. I almost never am active on Discord, so I'll reach out. I'm definitely interested in that collab you reached out for. So thanks for popping in, and what's up, fella? Hopefully we can get you on the channel sometime soon. Sometime in August. This week is a little tricky, but in August things open up a little bit, so I'll reach out to you, man. But I noticed there were some messages in my Discord I didn't notice. Haven't gotten to. I just signed up for Discord in the last week. I am brand new to Discord. But the email said I've missed some messages. So, is there a point in looking at anybody else's team? I guess why not? Some team reviews for the hell of it. We took a look at game tight structure. Dak and Stroud. He's not afraid of only two quarterbacks. Danimal. Did we look at Danimal's team yet? I think so. Pitts and Goddard, Flowers, Watson, Sutton, Pittman, Wilson, Diggs, Debo. Yeah, I think we looked at this. You know what? I don't think there's any point. I don't think there's any point in doing the team reviews in weekly winners. I don't know your strategy on which week you were building out. So, I don't see the point. All right, I'm kind of tired. It got pretty late. We are past midnight officially. I'm going to take one final rip and then I think we're going to go to bed. But thanks everyone for joining us this evening. It's been fun. It's been chill. It's been real. And then we did pop the Discord cherry. We also just popped the weekly winners cherry. First ever draft in weekly winners tonight. So trying new things, always a good choice. But okay, I will see you guys one last time on the other side. Peace.